Welcome in, everybody, to Grind Time, sponsored by Full Time Fantasy and the FFWC. We have a star-studded lineup tonight. We're going to be drafting a best ball draft over at the FFWC. The entry is only a $25 best ball, but this will help kind of clear up ADP. We'll get to see which sites are high on players, which sites are low on players, who are the analysts targeting, who are some of the biggest sharks in the industry, who are they targeting. And we're going to run through all that. We're going to have everybody on individually by round to discuss their roster, their construction, the players they selected, and who they chose and why. First, we're going to have Mike. Mike Schopp's going to come on from rounds 3 to 4. We're going to have Theo Gremminger on from rounds 5 to 6 from the GOAT District. And then rounds 7 and 8, Pat Fitzmaurice from Fantasy Pros is going to come on. 9 through 10, Adam Krautwurst is going to come on. He might be running late, so he might be a little further. But if so, Jared Smola will jump in for him here, who's also coming over from Draft Sharks. We have James Brimacombe, who is just a animal at best ball and drafting all the time over there at Underdog. And then we have JD, founder of the GOAT District, coming on. We also have Josh Larky from Roto Underworld and Player Profiler. Dan Williamson is going to be coming on as well from the GOAT District podcast. Bradley Stalder, my old co-host from the Fantasy Football Fanalist, and he's a analyst over there at Fantasy Data. And then Anthony Cervino will not make it on the show tonight. He's feeling under the weather, but he will be drafting so we can see his team, pick his brain, and see what everybody is up to. So without further ado, let's get this draft kicked off. Roy, if you're in there, if you can go ahead and start the draft for us, we'll get this thing kicked off. I'm waiting for Dave to join, but in the meantime, let me see Roy. Roy, are you in there, buddy? There it goes. We are live. So let me get this draft board pulled up. Okay, and we'll get the brand situated. So on the clock, we have Theo, who just took Jonathan Taylor. Christian McCaffrey goes to Adam at the 102. Dan Williamson is on the clock. Has anybody seen Dan? No Dan yet. Dave, if you're watching, buddy, if you want to hop in the room, we'll start chatting about the picks as they're coming in. I'll let you into the draft. There's Dan right there. Okay, Dan's in the room now. So for those who are unfamiliar with the FFWC, the FFWC is a start 3 wide receiver format. We are going to be starting 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers. We have a tight end position. It is non-flex or non-tight end premium, sorry. 1 flex position, and then we are drafting a defense. So a little bit different compared to most of the best ball sites, but that allows us to really kind of test our knowledge in defenses. I have Dave, who's my draft partner. Here he is. Let's get Dave on the screen. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing well. So for those who don't know Dave, we're living under a rock. Dave is one of the best fantasy football players in the world. Well over $1 million in career earnings in the fantasy football world in the high stakes leagues. We had a couple high society leagues last year together. We probably, I think we ended up, math and everything said and done, we had about 98% return on our leagues together, Dave.
Nice.
So we did pretty good. We didn't do well on FBGs though. We sucked at FBGs, but in terms of over here at FFWC, we took on 1 dominator, which was $10,000 for winning the league for most points and best record. And then we had a couple other high stakes leagues, 20,000 or two $10,000 buy-ins that we took second, I think, and 1, third, another, and first seed and 1, and second seed another. So we did pretty good, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Billy?
Doing good. Dave was like, I don't want to draft until later on the season. I said, nope, we're hopping on a best ball tonight.
I'll do a little best ball with you. Yeah, I'm out of the 350 business completely this year, just doing nothing but main events and big money leagues. That's it. An occasional best ball draft. Nothing
so we
like
have
drafting every night.
That's how I sharpen my brain, I guess. I got to keep drafting. Can't stop, won't stop. But we have so far Jonathan Taylor 101, Christian McCaffrey 102, Cooper Kupp 103, Austin Eckler 104, Jamar Chase 105. Pretty chalk so far, I'd say. What do you think?
Makes a lot of sense. All those picks, I can't argue with any of them. right now.
So now, do you think it's an overreaction from the community taking Cooper Kupp ahead of all the other receivers right now? Do you think it's warranted? What's your opinion on Cooper Kupp going in the first round in 2020,
I mean,
2022?
he did what he did last year, and not much is going to change in that offense. So, I mean, it's justifiable, just like any other year. The guy that had the huge year the year prior, of course, is going to continue to go more chalk than the other guys. The masses are just going to favor him more. But it's hard to argue with what Cooper Kupp did last year. I mean, he was outstanding. We had a few shares of him and enjoyed the production, but you were getting a lot better deal on him last year than you're going to get this year.
Yeah, my only fear is you look at the production that he had last year, and I know that's why he's going where he's at, but what are the chances of someone hitting that again, right? You look at somebody like Jamar Chase, who's younger, who's playing in a division where defenses aren't as tough, and I just have to question at times, should Jamar Chase be ahead of Cooper Kupp? And I'd say it's hard to place him there based upon the statistical season that Kupp had, but it just makes me wonder at times, do I have Kupp too high in my rankings and should I adjust it? Should I not overreact to the 2021 season?
Yeah. I think if you want to own him this year, you're going to have to you're going to have to overreact, or you're going to have zero exposure, because I don't see any drafts, unless something changes with injuries or whatever, where he's not going to be a top 5 pick this year.
Yeah, I agree. You look at the news, Woods is traded, OBJ still not re-signed. They bring in Allen Robinson, who didn't look quite the same last year, and he's still going, top 3, top 2 picks every single draft.
I'm a Jamar Chase homer, but you can make the same argument with Jamar Chase. He was a rookie. Now he's coming into his second year. A lot of guys regress from their rookie year to their second year. I'm not saying he's going to, because I was a Jamar Chase guy, but he's going to go top 5 just like Kupp, top 5, top 6 in every draft. I would think. Same arguments could apply to him. You could say that he's being drafted too high too.
Yeah, you look at somebody like Derrick Henry now, who's been pretty, going pretty consistently at that like 4 to 6 range in these drafts. I hate to say it again, but I faded him last year. You and I both did. I think I'm going to be fading him again this year. And you look at that injury, he's got 5 screws in the foot, and it just has you concerned, or has me concerned at least, for his health moving forward.
Yeah, big guy that's going to go back to a heavy workload, and there's definitely some question marks with him. And I've always been a Derrick Henry guy, but last year we faded him, and this year, coming off the injury, probably not going to be overweight, to say the least.
Yeah, I joked around earlier with Bradley and said, every screw in his foot, I'm going to move him down that much in all my rankings. So, if he's going at average draft pick at 4 or 5, that's 9 to 10 for me now. So
if you look at the first round, there's a lot of guys with question marks. I mean, this year the first round is going to be littered with guys that you can make an argument that maybe they shouldn't be going in the first round for various reasons.
All right, we're on the clock. So we have our start 3 wide receiver format. Are we going to go our anchor running back build and then pick out from there?
Who are you thinking? I just logged into the room. Who are you thinking about here?
It's either Cook, Mixon, or Tyreek for me.
Cook, Mixon, Tyreek. Best ball, I would go Tyreek.
That's what I'm thinking too. Okay. And then that gives us plenty
of
options.
He gets a little help now. Nobody, it's going to be harder to double cover him with Kelsey and
Juju underneath now.
There now, and we'll have to see what they do with the running game, if they make any improvements there via the draft, or they just go back in with what they had. So that's the other thing with doing these drafts this early. The NFL draft this year, I think, is going to change a lot of things with the draft board, depending on where some of these guys go. There's that are hidden, in my opinion. I've done a lot of, since I'm not drafted as much, I've done a lot of evaluation of players. And this year, rookie class may be better than what a lot of people think it's going to be. There's some guys that I think have like potential to step right in and have a huge role.
Well, especially in the running back room. I know they were touting it as, one of the worst draft classes in a long time. And I agree with you. Like, some of these backs, like watching their tape, they looked good. And then coming into the combine, they impressed as well and had better metrics than people were expecting. I mean, like, I know it's easy to say Breece Hall, but I mean, you look at some of the catches that guy made down the sidelines on some of these games for a running back, and you look at it and say, wow, that's a running back making those catches. And anytime I can see a back doing that, a big back was powerful like that, it catches my eye. And it was, and that was when he was, he's always been 101, I think, in my mind, and a lot of drafts' mind, but it was pretty evident to me when I was watching him make those catches in the film study.
I agree. And it's not just him. I like this running back class better than last year's running back class, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you have Rashad White, who's got great hands. There's a lot of good backs in this class that I think are kind of hidden.
Kenneth Walker. There's a lot of guys that look really good on tape right now. I've got a list of them going. I'm waiting to see where they go to see if the tape matches like potential production of the situation they fall into.
All right, we're back on the clock. I like DeAndre Swift here. I like AJ Brown here.
You had me at DeAndre Swift. I like DeAndre.
All right, that gives us an anchor back to plant the flag on, and then we can build from there.
Two explosive, especially in best ball. Tariq and DeAndre Swift. I mean, massive. And I'm not a best ball guy, but I did a little bit last year, and those are two guys that to me fit the best ball profile really well.
Yep, have plus weeks.
Yep.
So after Derrick Henry, Cervino drafted Henry, Bradley Stalder took Najee Harris, Jared Small took Justin Jefferson, James Brimacombe, aka Eagles, as everyone knows, drafted Devontae Adams. Then we have Javonte Williams to Mike there, and then we took Tyreek. Excuse me, we got that sparkling water. Tyreek Hill at the 11th spot. Larky double taps running back with Mixon and Cook. We of course took Swift, and then AJ Brown immediately after DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, and Chubb, depending on what the Browns do, Chubb's another guy that might, but we have to wait and see what they do with Kareem Hunt. Looks like they're going to hang on to everybody's darling in free agency, and that means that we have to wait and see where Kareem Hunt goes. So a lot of these situations could be fluid and change a lot.
Yeah, could you imagine if Chubb actually got the workload that all of us have wanted for him to get the last 2 or 3 years? Like,
yep.
At that point, he's.
I don't even know. It's gonna. You have to be careful with that because Hunt's gone, and the other kid there proved himself.
Ernest Johnson.
With Dearness Johnson, would they just keep doing what they were doing, and Chubb belongs in the second round? I don't know the answer to that yet, but yeah, if Chubb got as much touches as some of these other guys like Jonathan Taylor, then he would be arguably a top 5 pick. You could argue that he belongs in the top 5.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that statement.
There's Kamara. There's a lot of questions. I did one best ball draft this year in FFWC, and Kamara went in the mid-3rd based on probably because they're wondering what's going to happen with that arrest of his. But he's another guy. Where's he going to go in these drafts? Is he going to live right there? Is he going to move up? I don't know.
Yeah, I think once we get clarity on that, that'll be the determining factor, right? If there is a suspension or anything further in the justice system, I think he'll continue to slide. But as long as there's muddied water, I think we're going to continue to see him go in that 2nd to 3rd turn.
Yep, should continue to receive a deal on him. So if you want to own him, that's a guy you can probably own.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's bring on Mike a little early since we're going to come back around. I hate to get him on as he's picking, so got to get him in the room.
All right.
Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. That's what I was thinking, too. Maybe if I was available earlier, I could concentrate more on my stuff later on. So,
I was looking up like, man, timing-wise, I'm going to get – I should just pull an Adam on you and make you auto, but I'm a nice host. I'm not going to do that to you. For all those who don't know, Mike Schopp here is 20th year at WGR Buffalo. He's the co-host of the Deep End podcast with Adam Krautwurst, and they focus on high-stakes drafting as well. Mike, how you doing, buddy? And why don't you tell people what WGR is for those who don't know?
The home of sports talk in Buffalo, which for most of my 20 years, maybe not that interesting, but in the last couple, it's been great. So I'm proud of how long my partner and I, Bulldog, Chris Parker is his name, have been on the air afternoons in Buffalo. And yeah, my 20th anniversary is coming up in July. So it's been a long time.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, it was nice to get you on this draft with us. I know we see each other in the draft rooms from time to time. And why don't you walk me through, and it's only the first 2 rounds, but walk me through your kind of draft philosophy when you are going through the first 2 rounds. What is your mental process, and what are you thinking as the draft kind of unwinds?
I think I'm probably like most people, where you don't want to get caught without at least one running back that you can see, doing a great job, having a huge workload for his team. Javonte Williams, in my case here at 10, is a little bit still yet to be that, with Melvin Gordon status up in the air, but there's so much to like about him as a player and the Broncos offense, especially now. So I think that the right move would be for them to give him that number one job clearly. And I guess I'm hoping that they do that. And the other thing is, I think like yourself, Billy and Dave, and a lot of guys in rooms like this, I mean, you're playing in a lot of these, so you don't want to have too much of the same players. And that's a little bit uncomfortable for me, because you want the guys you like and you've done the research and you have ranked them a certain way for a reason, but then you get into, whatever number drafts it is, and you want some variety. So that's part of the, I know that's maybe March is too early to get like that, but it's part of the thinking too.
So Scott is complimenting you on your voice over here. I'm just going to pick a story every night and I'm going to call you, and will you read it to me before I go to bed?
Depends. Depends on the story. Maybe.
You can read me football highlights to sleep. So first round, any surprise picks for you? Pretty chalk, or seeing Waddle go ahead of Deebo Samuel was a little bit surprised to me. What about you guys?
I would have done that too, but I think it's a little bit unusual. I mean, round one, who is anything near a reach in that first round? I know Adam loves McCaffrey, so that doesn't surprise me to see him do that. Really not. And then in round two, you guys
chalky.
Both like Swift, I heard you say. That's interesting, because is it not a little early for him based on ADP, or how do you see it?
I'll throw ADP out the window. I'm using like my own rankings, and I'll use my projections.
Mm-hmm.
If I know I'm not going to get him in the third, so I'll take him there at the beginning of the two, even if I think that his ADP is going to be like 2.8, 2.9, 2.6, somewhere in that range. To me, it doesn't matter. If I want the player, I'm going to take him because I know I'm not going to get him back on the third round.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, you got a great prospect, and hopefully also a situation where he's carrying the lion's share, no pun intended, of the work there. So that should happen. I mean, I feel like Swift is fine there.
Yeah, Joey makes a good comment. This crowd ADP doesn't matter. Yeah, everyone's gonna get their guy. I think we're gonna see a lot of players go outside the range of their typical ADP early. We're talking about ADP in March. It's hilarious.
Even at this high price point.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see I think people are gonna be choosing the players of their selections outside of ADP throughout the whole draft.
For $25, that is brave, but I think you'll be right.
Man, that's like 4 to 5 gallons of gas now.
Especially in California, or you're in Oregon, right?
Yeah, I'm in Oregon. Maybe. Close enough. Yeah, not as bad. There was a buddy sending me a picture, and it was like 875 over in the Mendocino coast in California, which is the highest in the nation right now.
Wow,
yikes!
Yeah, I'd be walking. No, So round three.
You told me, by the way, and I'm sure you were serious. Like, I don't care where my draft slot is. Is that because of the variety and wanting different players, different builds, or really? Because I didn't really love 10.
Yeah, for me, it's like I don't really care where I'm slotted, because I know that I can approach the draft differently depending upon where I'm at. Like if I'm in the front, you're getting, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. And then from there, you're pretty much, like, in my opinion, I'm going to be building wide receiver out from that point on for a few rounds. And where if I'm at the end, I have a little bit more flexibility. I can take a star wide receiver and a star running back, and then kind of fill it in and kind of let the draft come to me throughout the draft. So it really depends upon where I'm at in the draft, and I'm able to kind of make up my mind and my strategy as the draft progresses, where I feel like certain spots you're kind of locked into what the board gives you based upon ADP. And I feel like constantly being a different spot to me allows me to create a different plan for every draft I'm in. So I like the backside. Like I like 10, 11, 12 a lot, because it gives you so much flexibility in how you're building or constructing your roster. And it allows you to go which any way you want. Like we could have double tapped running back there. We could have double tapped wide receiver there. We decided to go 1-on-1 and keep it balanced and let the board fall to you. But I like every spot because it allows me to do different things.
Yeah, maybe you have more control of your build on the ends, and so-called reaches. Maybe you have to sort of give into that a little more often, because the point you made, you're not going to see the player you want next time around when you're picking late or early.
Yeah, and I was looking at win rates across different sites, and the back half of drafts of the previous 2 out of 3 years has been pretty heavily emphasized on win rates in the back half of the draft. That's like 9, 10, 11, 12 spots. And yes, one could argue it's because at the beginning of the drafts are getting Christian McCaffrey and he's out 2 years, he's been out the last 2 years. But, either way, I just feel like I have a lot more flexibility at the end. But I like every position. I really do, because you can pick and choose whatever you want to go. But yeah, I'm pretty open.
Well, I'm going to go with, I think I'm up. So I'm going to go with Mark Andrews here. I'm more used to FFPC where they have the tight end premium point, but I still like Andrews at 310. Just seems like nobody's a sure thing, but he seems so close to that with his age and the offense he's in, the consistency over the early few years of his career. So we'll see how that plays out.
All right, Dave, we're on the clock. 48 seconds.
Who are you thinking here?
I like DJ Moore. Let's see. I like Terry McLaurin.
I like DJ Moore.
Okay. We're both in agreement on that one, and that's an easy one then.
Easy pick, I think.
Yep. Okay, lock it in. We'll get Larky's going to double tap here, and then we'll pick one more and get Mike. Man, we timed this one horrible for all of us talking. We're couldn't be right next to each other.
Bound to
happen. Stat Guru here, who's also our commissioner of the draft, says that Anders number one tight end in FFWC last year for scoring. I think across the board, I think just in general too.
Yeah, he's been awesome. But by the way, Mike, I listen to Deep End all the time. I really enjoy y'all's show, and I really enjoy listening to you. I think you provide a lot of input that's very valuable, and I enjoy y'all's show a ton. It's one of the few shows I listen to every week. So
that is a great compliment. Thank you, Dave.
Sorry to interrupt, but we got 40 seconds on the clock. I saw Mike was trying to do there.
I think he was onto something, Billy.
Terry McLaurin or get out of wide receiver.
You got plenty of time. You got 28 seconds. I don't even have a sheet up. I'm just going listening.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin, Zeke.
Don't want any part of Zeke. McLaurin's the best value.
Yeah, I think it's McLaurin for me pretty easily.
We'll start with 3. I like that. We'll Swift with the 2 number ones. They got a little help there. We'll have to see what they do in the draft to get more locked.
Pittman was the other name I was going to say with them finally getting a receiver, or a quarterback.
Yeah.
And Mike's on the clock, and then so we'll start asking him a bunch of questions right now.
I would have been on. DJ Moore was my backup with Andrews, and you guys took care of that.
You're welcome.
And so, better luck next time. I do want to respond to Dave's nice comments, but I got to focus up and do this. Well, I think I like Elijah Moore of all these receivers. I want to be on wide receiver here, so let's do that.
In this format, I think that's a very wise decision. That's where a lot of people make mistakes in this format, different from FFPC, is that wide receiver is way more valuable over here.
Yeah, I say that, and then we're in another draft in $50 best ball. It was the first draft of the season so far, and I did my normal, anchor build and went like 4 straight wide receivers, and everyone just kept drafting green. And now here I was in like round 8 or 9 when I was used to seeing running backs, and there was no running backs. So I was like, oh well, it's okay. I'm going to just keep taking wide receivers and keep.
This time later, going to be running backs with upside that you can put on the team and see what happens.
Exactly. All right. So third round goes Antonio Gibson, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Hall, first rookie off the board to JD, the GOAT District. Then we got Akers, Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Hopkins, Jones, Andrews, Moore, Josh Allen, first quarterback off the board, which is expected. Pitts goes. Then we take McLaurin. Moore goes to Mike Williams, and then Connor. Any surprises in the 3rd and 4th round so far?
Breece Hall, maybe. And the idea of taking the top running back is so exciting before the draft. You feel like you're getting some sort of value there. And, you might be. I want the best player, and I don't want to be too concerned with the uncertainty of what his situation is going to be. I think if you look at the EH draft where Jonathan Taylor and Swift went later, we just moved right to CEH after that draft, the perfect team, the only first-round running back. And then, now I think he's the 6th running back I would want from that draft alone, which is crazy. And he's not even really bad. So I mean, I like that idea a little bit. And Aaron Jones, who went right before me, seems like he could be, depending on the A.J. Dillon part. I mean, Jones he's great in the passing game, and Adams is gone. Rodgers is there. So I'd expect him to have a big year. We'll see what that means, what turns out with respect to Dillon in the backfield also. But Jones is a nice idea, I think.
Well, yeah, you
Aaron
look at the splits with Devontae Adams off the field, and Aaron Jones just gets peppered in the passing game. I mean,
he went in the fourth round of that best ball I did, so that was crazy. I thought that was crazy. I hate seeing Mike Williams going that early. I guess that's where he's going to go now. He signed. He's back with San. So you're not going to get the deals you were getting last year on Mike Williams. It doesn't look like.
That's out of here. We were getting him in like round 8 and 9 in some drafts last year, and
on a draft.
Yeah, he's forever going to be in the top 4 rounds now.
Yep.
Metcalf is sliding in drafts, who was once going ahead of players like T. Higgins and Lamb in drafts, with no quarterback right now on the team, has been sliding into 3rd and 4th rounds. What is your opinion, boys, on DK Metcalf and possibly having Drew Lock throw the ball here this season?
Well, I would say you got to love the player. And my guess would be Mayfield ends up there or someone else somehow. I doubt it's Garoppolo. I don't think those teams make that trade. But, I mean, Mayfield has to find somewhere to play. And I think Seattle, there's been enough rumors that I think it's likely they want somebody else. So, I mean, even with Wilson, as good as Wilson is, they have been so run heavy. They're talking about being more of that. But Metcalf, even Lockett too, are still very useful and even great sometimes in that offense. So I think he's probably good value.
I would agree. We'll have to see what they do at quarterback. I mean, but either one of those guys are capable quarterbacks that can throw the ball, and Metcalf has talent. And in best ball, I would like Metcalf even more because he has the ability to do it in one play. So I don't hate him there in the middle of the 4th, regardless of who they wind up going with that quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
we are nearing the end of the 4th. We have Theo going to double tap and then head on here shortly. Mike, why don't you tell the people where to find you, where they can find your work, where they can find your audio, give everyone the details.
Okay. At Schopp Talk, the name doesn't sound like it looks. SCHOPPTALK. Do a lot of Buffalo sports, and then the Deep End and the Deep End Dynasty this year with Adam Krautwurst, who will be on later. And so you can find me there at either of those spaces or at WGR, which is an Odyssey station, sports radio in Buffalo. Thank you for doing this, for inviting me. Thank you also for the nice words about our work. I really have learned a lot in these couple of years playing fantasy football. And, make sure you give Adam a hard time when he's on.
Will do. Pleasure finally getting to meet you and talk to you.
Likewise, Dave. Thank you. Thank you, Billy. Good luck.
Thank you. And we'll see you in Canton.
All right. I like how that sounds.
Yeah. All right. Let's get Theo on here now. Theo, I timed that for you. You're welcome. I thought about bringing you on right as you were on the clock, but
I thought you were going to do that while I was debating wide receivers right there. How you doing, Dave?
Doing good, Theo. How you doing, bud? That's a good turn.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I was happy with getting Amari Cooper right there. I feel like he's going to rise up a little bit. I think he's very, his target share could be great in that offense. He's attached to a great quarterback right now. They've got the play action game down in that offense. So I think all signs are pointing to Amari having a nice season. And it was between Brandon Cooks and Jerry Jeudy for me. I consider Michael Thomas as well, but Cooks just seems safe. If he stays in Houston, we know the role is good. If someone trades for him, I think that means it's a good situation for him as well. So I'm still tilting a little bit over Adam sniping me with CeeDee Lamb a couple rounds back. It's when you draft with Adam, he's always going to snipe you a couple times. And then for me, it was the Gibson pick over Evans. I have a little bit of regrets on that one, but I taking Gibson there. I like, if I get the first pick, I don't mind taking my RB2 there at the 2-3 turn because it gives me flexibility. And I think Gibson, I don't see him being a top 5 back, but I do think it's safe that he's going to be a top 15 back. He'll have some spike weeks. We saw his receiving role increase towards the end of the season. McKissick's back, but I believe in the talent, so I think it kind of gave me some flexibility there.
A couple questions from some of the listeners in the show. Kevin Wheeler says, "Does Pitt's value decline with Mariota at quarterback?" What's your opinion there, Theo?
I'm a Pitts guy, and I love Pitts. I don't think it's a great fit for him. Mariota has historically not elevated any tight ends or wide receivers,
Or anyone?
or anyone for that matter. I do think it's the Pitts show. I think he could lead all tight ends in targets, which is something to be said for a player of his talent. And I think that we obviously expect some positive game scripts for him. But I don't know. It's not great. I wouldn't bet on him being like tight end 1 overall, but I do think he's a safe bet to be a top 4 tight end. So I'm certainly not selling in Dynasty. I've seen that going around Twitter. I think that's just crazy. But in redraft, it takes a little bit off of him in redraft. I mean, I think I'd feel much more comfortable with Kelsey. But if you talk about, Andrews getting pushed up to tight end 2 level, I think he loses a lot of his value if he's drafted there. So I can't say I'm out on Pitts. I mean, I love his talent. And I'll be interested to see what else they do with that offense. But Mariota is just it's not the best fit for Mr. Pitts.
Yeah, Joey brings up a concern that I had once we saw Ridley get his suspension. Gage signed with Tampa Bay. Really, the only receivers on the team right now are Olamide Zaccheaus and then Bradley's favorite wide receiver in the NFL, Chad Hansen. But there are some serious concerns about double teams and how they're going to scheme against Kyle Pitts. Does that have you concerned at all?
I think that they'll move him around.
Dave. Sorry,
I think they'll move him. Sure, go ahead, guys.
Who are you thinking about here?
I know you don't like Zeke. We have a lot of running backs in the same tier here, so I'm fine grabbing another receiver.
Zeke is all right here. I mean, this is way past where he should get. I just don't know how Dallas is going to use him or how that's going to pan out. But here it can already. I kind of like Michael Thomas right here, the most.
I'm fine with Michael Thomas here as well. He was 2 or 3 on my name.
Jameis got signed. That's the only thing that was holding me back on him, and I think he's going to move way up the draft boards.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Let's grab Thomas, and then we can pick a running back who are all in the same tier to me coming back.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thomas is a good pick. I considered him as well, and I agree with the Jameis signing. He's going to move up.
Yeah, I was worried with I was so glad the Taysom Hill experiment was over. Like that's just had me so worried with Michael Thomas and the rest of the offense. But now that we have Winston coming back, who's going to throw the ball, push the ball down the field, it allows me, or I should say, allows Michael Thomas to do Michael Thomas things, and allows me the chance to take him in drafts now.
Definitely, especially there. Very little risk there.
I could see them drafting a wide receiver in the first round as well. I think that's going to be. I think Jameis is, especially for best ball. I think he's intriguing, especially where he's going. But back to Pitts, I think they'll move Pitts around a lot. He's going to be the featured player on the offense. I don't worry as much about double teams when he's getting constantly moved around, and I do believe in his talent. So people are out on Kyle Pitts in Dynasty. They can trade him my way.
Yeah,
Zeke made it back. You want to take him here in the 6th?
That'll be fine as a second running back in best ball. He should get touchdowns.
He'll fall in the end zone.
He should get a few catches. So yeah, he's fine there, I think.
Okay, all righty. We'll take Zeke there and get our second running back.
Going a lot earlier than that in drafts, right?
Yeah, I've been seeing him go kind of the 4 or 5 turns. So he was pushed down with this room, and there's a lot of sharp drafters in here, and that's why we're seeing him pushed down. But
yeah,
I've even been taking him in the middle of the 5th, honestly, and frequently. So get him to 6 is a steal.
Yeah.
So Theo, we saw Herbert go off the board here as the quarterback 2 to your boy JD at GoatDistrict. What's your opinion on Herbert going ahead of Mahomes?
I mean, I can't do it. For me, it's going to be Mahomes, especially with the Juju addition. I think that offense is for me. I see the Chiefs being a better offense than the Chargers. I think that there is an argument that Herbert's going to take a step forward in year 3, but I can't do it. For me, it's Mahomes. The only quarterback I can take ahead of Mahomes is Allen.
Yeah, I think I'm the same, but I like Herbert a lot. I think he was my quarterback like 5 or 6 last year in my preseason rankings. 2 is very optimistic. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. So I'm going to say that, right? I think if if we came down this time next year and Herbert was being drafted as the quarterback too, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities of him finishing there this year. But I still like the Kansas City offense a little bit more.
Yep, completely agree.
Wheeler says Zeke in the 6 is a no-brainer. I really like his other comment here, which is probably accurate, that Taysom's going to play running back when Kamara's suspended. So,
very possible.
I like where Bradley got Tyler Lockett. I think that Lockett, especially in best ball, he's going to have boom weeks no matter who's his quarterback. And if you believe any of the DK Metcalf potentially getting traded, scenarios, Lockett could just see a ton of volume this year.
Yeah, I got a lot of work to do after the draft and after these trades are done, because some of these teams are going to look totally different than they did last year, like completely different with the wide receiver core, with where some of these running backs might go. There's going to be a lot of work to be done.
Well, not just that, you have coaching changes and system changes and you name it, right? That's what's really going to affect a lot of these teams. Like you see like what the Jags have done, but and it's been, comical to a certain degree, but when you look at what Peterson's done in the past with, 2 tight ends and way he's ran that system, it makes sense. So, you have to take that in consideration when you're doing these early drafts as well as the coaches and the systems that they run.
What about Hoodie having Fournette in? Hoodie's a beat to his own drum. He's good. I don't know if he's doing that to jab Brady. You're coming back. I'll just take your running back from you.
What a mess that would be.
Yeah. No, I think it's just to mess with all of us fantasy players. He needs one more running back to just muddy the waters and mess with our brains. It's man, that every year I think it's going to get a little bit more clear, and it just every year something like that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
I like what you guys were talking about with the rookie running back class being underrated. I completely agree with you on that one. I think there's a couple guys that could mess up some backfields, especially when you look at this draft. Kenneth Walker is one that's really rising up for me.
Yeah.
White is interesting. Spiller's interesting. People are kind of down on him, but he's going to be a day 2 guy as well. So it's an interesting draft. I think there's a lot of skill position players that are going to come in and make an impact.
I 100% agree.
Wheeler asked if we can make the board bigger. I can't do it from that screen. Let me try something, Wheeler. Is that any better, or is that the same? It looks no, that's the same room. That's what it is. Okay, 1 second. How about that one? Is that any better, Wheeler? That's as big as it'll get. We can zoom in, I guess, a little bit, and then just slide it left and right. No, that's it, Wheeler. Sorry, buddy. That's all we can do for you. And I just got to go back and forth for that to update. Yeah, no, I don't like this one because it lags behind a little bit. So we're going to go back. Sorry, it lags a little bit on that side, Wheeler. So we're going to stay here. Well, Theo, thanks for coming on, buddy. Why don't you tell everyone where to find you as soon as you pick your round 7 player here, and give everyone the details.
You can find me on the GoatDistrict podcast weekly, and you can find my waiver wire article weekly in Player Profiler and some other articles as well. We got some great guests coming on in the next few weeks. Definitely give us a look.
All right, Theo. Well, thank you, buddy. Have a good night.
Great talking to you, Theo. Take it easy, bud.
Take care, guys. Good talking to you.
All right.
All right. We're going to pull Pat Fitzmaurice in from Fantasy Pros. Pat, welcome to the show.
I can't hear him.
Pat, you there?
Yep, my apologies. I was muted.
No.
Billy, Dave, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Pat?
Good. Interesting draft so far.
Very interesting draft. What's been, do you think, some of the biggest eye or head turns for you so far through the first 6 rounds?
The funny thing is, I like the Breece Hall pick. Some people might think was aggressive, but he was, I had Akers teed up as my next running back, but Hall was my guy right after that. So I didn't think it was crazy at all. Pretty good value on some of these tight ends. Getting Mark Andrews late in the 3rd, I think was kind of nice. Just really interesting so far where some of the, I mean, I think it's been surprisingly chalky considering it just shows what a sharp room it is, that I don't think there have been many picks that have been out of line at all.
No, and the ones that even are like raise an eyebrow, it's like within the realm of possibilities, right? You're saying, oh, I could see that happen, which is why I like doing these drafts. You get to see what every analyst is thinking, where their mindset is, and it kind of helps you look at things in different perspective as well. Like I personally like Debo ahead of Waddle, but I also like Waddle and could see why someone would take him there.
Sure. Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, I was kind of happy to get Debo there. I don't know, like I've been wondering if people were going to think like the production was kind of fluky and not being able to project that sort of running value again from him. Like I was interested to see where he was going to go in a draft like this. And I was pretty happy to get him late-ish in the second round.
Yeah, we've been seeing him traditionally go at that like 1-2 turn in a lot of these earlier drafts. So I think that was a pretty screaming value for you there at the end of the second.
Yeah. I'm curious, what do you guys think of Cam Akers for this year?
Oh, see, I was out on Cam Akers last year. I had Larky on the podcast. We debated why Cam Akers, from my take, why Cam Akers shouldn't have been around one draft pick last year. He got the injury, as we all know. We weren't able to ever see those results unfold. But you'd look at what the kid did, and coming back off an Achilles tear that fast is unprecedented. And to be able to have, you know, I was calling him Wolverine, like that amazing superpower healing, right? And he comes out like 6 to 8 months removed from an Achilles tear and is handling the rock 13 to 16 times a game through the playoffs. And when I see that type of recovery, it tells me one thing, that this kid has a mindset of a champion and he wants to be back on the field, and he's pushed himself to get to that point as fast as he did. You can't teach that in the NFL. And so for me, it says me a lot about his mindset, what he wants to do and what he's going to achieve. Hopefully he's able to stay healthy and move forward, but you have to think if he stays healthy on the field, he's going to see the lion's share, the bulk of the carries in this offense.
Yeah, I think what I liked about what we saw last year with him was the way that he was brought back in week 18 and gets this small amount of carries to work himself back into things. And then the Rams start the playoffs, and for their biggest games of the year, they run him out there as like a workhorse, basically, and continue to give him that workhorse duty throughout the playoffs. And just, we know that McVay's offense is going to be good. It's pretty much always been good, even when Jared Goff was his quarterback. And if Akers is going to continue to be the guy, because we had seen Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson both have pretty close to RB1 value. And the fact that they just like turned away from those guys and went right to Akers, I think was kind of telling. And if they do that again, like I know he's slowed down in the playoffs. He did face a couple of pretty elite run defenses in the Buccaneers and 49ers. And I thought the Bengals played really good run D in the Super Bowl.
One second, Matt, we're on the clock. What are you thinking here, Dave?
Who do you got?
I like running back. I like Sanders here. I like Edmonds here. Oh, Dylan's still there too. I miss Dylan. Wide receiver, I like DJ Moore. I like Christian Kirk. Quarterback, if we want to take it, Rodgers or Prescott.
I like Christian Kirk here. He's going to be the number one there, I think. So take Kirk here, and there's all those running backs you just mentioned are very similar to me. So
I think so too. Same scenario we were in last turn.
Yeah, I'd take Kirk and take a running back on the way back.
Okay,
I'd wait on quarterback.
Yeah, I want to wait too. So I'll throw a couple names out here. We're going to be on the clock here again in about 30 seconds as Larky double taps. Then we'll get Pat continue to talk about
all those guys are very similar to me. Dylan, Sanders. Maybe Sanders gets in the 8th round. Sanders is a deal, and he finally gets whatever we've always expected him to get. And this maybe here is year.
You're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, I'm telling you there's a chance. Philly's a show, but maybe that's what they do now. They become a running team, and he becomes the guy he's supposed to have been all along.
every year I think it's going to happen, and it just hasn't happened. I mean, when he has been on the field though, he's looked good. He just hasn't ever gotten the bulk of the carries.
He looked really good at times last year.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Pat. Sorry, we got once Larky picks here, we'll pick. You want to just do Sanders, lock it in?
Yeah, lock it in.
Okay. All right. Continue on with Cam Akers, because I was agreeing with everything you were saying.
Oh, that was about it. Just the fact that they turned to him for the playoffs, I thought was kind of interesting. And speaking of interesting, Larky double tapping quarterback and tight end with that last doubling up at both of the onesie positions. Now that is interesting.
Yeah. We're going to start to see a lot of receivers off the board here because it's a 3 wide receiver start. So it's going to be, I think, a little challenging to find your third wide receiver week to week, but he's got those 2 positions locked down for sure. So questions for you. Does the fumbling from Cam Akers, does that have you concerned at all heading into 2022?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to get that tightened up a bit, but just that they didn't really penalize him for that very much in the playoffs, that they continue to go to him. I'm not too worried about that. So, and that's kind of one of the things that I don't factor in that much. I mean, everyone thought Jonathan Taylor had a fumbling problem at Wisconsin. Things that can generally get fixed. I'm forgetting maybe like the one case where I can think of it pretty much torpedoing a guy's career, and I can't think of the name, and it's killing me. The guy for the New York Giants, like maybe 15 years ago, who, oh man,
I'm blanking right now.
Yeah, I'm totally blanking. I shouldn't have even brought that up if I wasn't prepared to follow through with the name. But
now it gives us homework to do. We can go look it up afterward.
I'm sure there are people yelling at their screen right now who caught that reference. But
so walk me through your build. Where's your mindset? Looks like you wanted to get 2 stud receivers and then fill in the blanks, but walk me through your process so far.
Yeah, that was kind of it. Like knowing the importance of wide receiver in a 3 receiver setup like this. I did want to get a really strong receiver at the top. And I just think there's a lot of uncertainty after basically if I wasn't going to get Taylor McCaffrey in the first round, I kind of wanted a receiver. And I would have gone Kupp number 1, but Chase was my number 2. And so I was kind of happy to get him there and happy to get Debo in the second round. And then, I did feel some pressure to play catch up a little bit at wide receiver, at running back. So I took a couple there. Couldn't pass the value on Mahomes at number 5. And sorry, I'm just
yeah, you're coming around the clock. So I'll fill in for you as you're looking at the queue. And then I'll throw out a couple names here. So people are already throwing out giant running backs name. David Wilson or Ahmad Bradshaw. Are either one of those?
No, it was David Wilson.
The neck injury.
That's the guy.
Too.
Yeah. Yes. And the neck injury. Yeah. But didn't he have some major fumbling issues early in his career?
Yes, he did.
All right. And I just made my pick. So
has it been 15 years already since he's played?
Maybe I'm stretching on that.
It might be, though. I mean, I'm like, it seems like it wasn't that long, but it could be. I mean, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I gotta check that out myself. That was just kind of a wild guess, but
10 years. So okay, but still close.
Years?
Close.
Okay.
I mean, it's been 10 years. That's crazy. It's been 10 years since he's played last.
I know, man. Time in the NFL flies by in the blink of an eye. It's crazy.
It really does.
Yeah. So I like the build you guys have with, that's kind of generally me avoiding the onesie positions in best ball and just like waiting on those. And, you guys have built some quality depth at wide receiver. And getting Zeke at the top of the 6th. Like I'm a little down on Zeke myself, but the value there is pretty hard to pass up.
Yeah, there comes a point where regardless if you like the player or you don't like him, the value presents itself. You have to swoop up on it, right? And Zeke is one of those players. And I'm constantly reevaluating him, right? This year, especially. Like once Amari Cooper was gone and we have Gallup coming back with injury and Wilson was signed by Miami, you have to kind of wonder what is his role going to be in this offense? And are they going to lean on him even though, as analysts, we look at him and say he hasn't, performed the last year and a half, 2 years up to expectations or to that contract. But you still have to think that this is a high-powered offense. He still has a pretty damn good O-line. They're still going to hand the ball in the red zone, so he's still going to score.
Yeah. You guys got pretty good value on Miles Sanders too.
Yeah, I'm always high on Miles Sanders, and it seems to bite me. But now that he's in the 8th round, maybe it won't bite me as hard.
Yeah.
I'm a Miles Sanders truther myself, so I've done that.
Well, thanks for hopping on the show. Thanks for drafting with us. Why don't you tell everyone to find you? And I'm going to get Adam on here.
Yeah, Dave and Billy, thanks a lot for having me. You can find my work at Fantasy Pros, and I host the Fitz on Fantasy podcast, and my Twitter handle is at @Fitz_FF.
All right, Pat. Well, thanks you very much. Have a good night, and looking forward to keep drafting against you.
Take it easy,
thanks,
Pat.
guys. Have a good night.
Good night. All right. Next, we have Adam Krautwurst from the Deep End Podcast. How you doing, buddy?
Man, how are you? I'm doing well.
How you liking your draft so far? Walk me through it.
Yeah, no, I like it.
I like your Dallas stack there. Too bad you don't have the running back, but it's okay.
That's all right. They don't even know who their running back is. So. But no, I mean, I'm going to go CMC every time every time that I have to, because I'm shooting for that 30 point a week average. Not upside average. So that's what I wanted of him. And then what's interesting, what I like about these formats where you have to start 3 receivers and you can start one at flex, is it makes these best balls way more intriguing to me, because normally in best ball I'm going heavy running back early because I just feel like I need to get those guys early, and receivers you can pop. A 15th rounder, a 16th rounder, a 17th rounder is going to pop for a touchdown here and there. And so they can slide into your starting lineup. But when you got to start 4 or 3 and you can start 4, it makes me want to take receivers, and you have to take receivers earlier because they're going to fly. I mean, look at Brad over there. He's hogging all of them. So,
yeah.
Well, you look at also like it's the position with the most variance, right? And when you're forced to start 3 week in and week out, not counting the flex, 4 if you count the flex, the amount of volume that you need at the position to offset the variance is high. So you're going to have a lot of receivers in order to get the maximum output at the position.
And you want to start a receiver in the flex, because that's where those points are scored, especially when you're comparing receiver 40 to running back 40. It's not even close. It's the receiver. So you want to start receivers in your flex. So in order to do that, you got to start hitting receiver early. So normally don't do that in best ball, but when you got to start 3 and you want to start 4, that's why I ended up going with the CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans back to back there. And I don't know, man. I love Dobbins this year. I didn't love him last year. I just feel like he's burning a hole in their pocket, right? He's going into year 3. He's done nothing for them. He's their best running back. I think they're really going to just make him the focal point of the run game. I think he's going to catch passes out of the backfield, and I think he's definitely going to outproduce that. Where did I get him at the end of the fourth round there?
I can definitely see that.
All right, so we're on deck here. Before Adam tries to pull his magic on me like he does every
What
draft.
do you think of Dobbins, Muzio?
Yeah, exactly. He got me twice last year in one draft. It's like I hardly ever auto draft, and he got me twice. He starts talking to me, and I missed it.
That's hilarious.
All right, let's take a look here. I'm going to take a look at the wide receivers again. We're starting to get a little thinner, but we still have some value there. Let's take a look at tight end. Lots of them still. I'm not worried about that position. Quarterback, still a lot of good quarterbacks on the board. And then running back, starting to thin out a little bit. I'm either thinking Penny here, Jacoby Myers, or we can get our first quarterback, Aaron Rodgers or Jalen Hurts.
I like Penny.
Okay, that's kind of a tier. There's a teardrop after.
Seems like an easy pick there.
Okay, so Penny it is. And then I think we should probably grab unless you want to, I know you like waiting at quarterback too. I'm fine to wait if you want to. We can grab another receiver here.
What receivers are there?
I like Jacoby. We could take a gamble on Jarvis Landry that he signed somewhere relevant. see which I got to go to the rookies tab 1 second too. Chris Olave. Any of these spark your interest, Dave?
I can't see. Let me see. See if I can blow it up.
Let me get out of rookies then.
I like a couple of those rookies, but I don't know if where I want to see what they got. I like Jamison Williams a ton, and I like Jahan Dotson a ton.
They got Olave still in there too. Unless he just took him. Never mind.
Yeah,
That's where he went.
Yeah, Olave's gone.
Any of the non-rookies here you like? We get Gamble on Galladay.
Not really.
You want to just take our quarterback then? There's not a lot of value everywhere else.
Yeah, that's fine.
Rodgers, Hurts, or Trey Lance?
Trey Lance.
Okay, shoot for upside. Let's do it.
Yep, this team's all about upside, so
might as well finish it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. Now Adam can't distract us. Okay, Adam. Good call on Penny. They said, okay, so let's talk about Penny while we're up, right? Resigns with Seattle. I think that was best case scenario for him. That all we're gonna have to worry about now is a stacked box with Drew Lock at quarterback. But sure. I like what he was able to do down the stretch. It was finally the Rashad Penny we all thought it was going to be for years.
We've been waiting on.
Yeah.
Yep.
They finally committed to him. What's your take on him this year, Adam?
I wanted to see where he went. They love him, right? And they took him in the first round of the NFL draft. People were trying to trade up to take him, and they wouldn't accept any trade offers. And he just hasn't been healthy. He wasn't really good when he was healthy prior to this year. So this year was nice to see him get going there. But I had him queued up for this. For this pick coming up here. So, I mean, I think it's fine now. Ninth round. I mean, we'll see how Carson, he had that neck injury. We'll see how he does. I mean, I feel like Carson's past his, kind of spot to really explode. I think they really want Penny to be that guy. And they're going to they love to run the ball, and they're going to be forced to run the ball now. So wouldn't it be funny if this is the year where they don't
yeah, they don't run it all. And they throw it 50 times a game.
You're going to let Drew Lock cook.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, neck injuries scare me with running backs. So I don't know if Carson will ever be the same. We might have seen the best days of Chris Carson.
Speaking of, we were just talking about Wilson from the Giants, where it was the last time we saw somebody, that bad of neck injury in a starting running back position really just kind of disappear. And you could see, I know we talked last year about that being the same path to him last year, Dave, when we were dropping him like the week of his injury. And I mean, I made you hold on to him a couple more weeks, which was
I told you he was not coming back. I told you he was
You did. I was like, you're like, no, he's done. I was like, man, we got to hold him another week. So those necks, the neck, especially in a running back position, the neck is a very serious injury.
Sure.
It's hard to run in there with those 300-pound guys beating on you, and you got a fused neck.
So Rodgers falls all the way to round 10 to Cervino here. People seems to be dropping in drafts. So we would know Devontae Adams. But you look at his splits, and he's had, only a couple fantasy points difference per game with Devontae Adams off the field. Yes, the sample size is small, but what's your take on Rodgers without his trusted receiver?
I mean, I want to see what they do. I mean, it's probably not going to be great, but if they add Will Fuller and a bunch of, there's like 3 or 4. Even, I mean, people have been talking about Cole Beasley because they got the whole, anti-vax thing combo going. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you can get 3 or 4 veterans to take the place of one receiver, maybe it makes them better, makes them less predictable. I mean, Rodgers is an all-time great. As long as they don't go into the season with what they have, and they've got draft picks, right? So I mean, he's not going to love throwing to rookies, but I think they can take what they've had in Adams and kind of spread it around. Not good for the fantasy receivers, not good for the receivers for fantasy, but might still be the same for Rodgers. So I really want to see. There's some guys out there still that he could go get.
Yeah.
You saw Cobb restructured his contract, which I know it doesn't mean much in the fantasy world, but you look at other dart throws like Amari Rodgers, and that affects that type of player who's going to be coming back, where I was hoping for a larger role. And then after that contract adjustment kind of tempered the expectations. But Alan Lazard re-signed. They're trying to, bring back some other weapons here. Kev says MVS wide receiver 1.
There you go.
Still to be decided, but we have you'd have to think they're going to bring somebody in, right? You can't think that they're going to allow him to go into week 1 or even into the draft without another receiver on this team.
Yeah, I completely agree. They have to bring somebody in. I mean, word on the street is Rodgers knew that this was probably going to happen with Adams, but you would have thought that he would have expected them to at least try to bring somebody in. I feel like the timing stinks too, because a couple of the receivers I think Robinson had just signed somewhere like right before that, so they kind of lost their shot at a couple of the guys that they may have been interested in.
All right, well, I'm going to bring Jared in here. Why don't you tell everyone where to find your work, Adam?
Sure. You can find me at draftsharks.com. I'll be doing some work for them this year again. You can find me at the Deep End Podcast at Adam_Krautwurst on Twitter as well.
All right, Adam. Well, thanks for joining, buddy, and good luck in the draft.
Take it easy, Adam. Good talking with you, bud.
Thanks, Dave. You too.
All right, next up, we have Jared Smola. Jared is the analyst over at Draft Sharks. He helped Draft Sharks win the Fantasy Sports Trade Association's most accurate preseason projections award twice. And I know I'm always seeing his name at the top of the rankings at the Fantasy Pros Accuracy Contest. And he's 7th all-time at the Pros versus Joe standing. So welcome in, Jared. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, guys. Good to be drafting, even in March here.
Yeah, we wanted to get all the guys back, get them on the show. Let's get some ADP talk going. Let's get some boards up on the internet and just get a feel for everyone and where they're sitting at in terms of their analysis. So why don't you walk me through your team? What are you thinking? And is the board falling to you? Have you been sniped? What's going on?
Oh, definitely been sniped, which you'd expect in a draft with these caliber of players. I think I sort of overestimated that where the running backs would go, I guess. It wasn't my plan to take 4 of them through the first 7 rounds. I think Adam was hitting on it, how wide receivers sort of get a boost in value here. Maybe I missed on that. But I didn't expect ETN to be there in the 5th. I did not expect Clyde Edwards-Helaire to be there in the 7th. It was tough for me to pass on those guys. Looking back on it, hindsight being 2020, I probably would have gone like Michael Thomas, who you guys nabbed in the 5th instead of ETN if I knew CEH would be there in the 7th. But it's tough to know that stuff. In a vacuum, I like all my picks and all the values I got on these guys.
What's been the biggest surprise of the draft for you so far?
Again, it's been the running backs dropping. I think there's a ton. I think where you guys got Zeke was nice. Where you guys got Sanders was nice. I thought Tony Pollard was a great pick in the 8th round. I think a lot of these 5th to 8th round running backs are good values, even in this format, again, where you only need to start the 2 running backs.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the value of, running back fall because, or I should say the value running back being there later because of the wide receivers being pushed up the boards with the start 3 format. That's when I first started drafting here at FFWC, that was what caught me off guard was how fast wide receivers flew, right? I was going early running backs too, and I was seeing just myself getting a little thin at the position later on. But it also depends upon the room too, right? Because I'm in another best ball draft right now where it was opposite. Running backs went early and often, and I was thinking that I was going to get value later. And here I was, coming around the turn at 7 and 8, where all these running backs that we just discussed were gone. And so you got to know your audience, right? Look at who you're drafting with. And there's a lot of sharp guys in this room. So we're going to see, the draft board's going to fall as such.
Sure. Yeah. And I do still think in best ball, my general strategy in best ball is to try to lock up some high volume running backs early on and then sort of play the numbers game, play the quantity over quality at wide receiver. So I still think even in this format that can work. And that's obviously the direction that my team's about to take here.
Yeah. You're on the clock. I don't want you to time out.
Yep. Got him queued up. I'm going Curtis Samuel here. Obviously his 2021 was a complete wipeout due to injuries, but they gave him a lot of money. I think there's still a clear path for him to be the number 2 wide receiver there. So in the 11th round, I'll give him a shot.
Well, and when he's healthy, he's dynamic, right? You look at the type of player that he could be, and I'm not saying that he's going to be anywhere near Deebo Samuel, but that's the type of skill set that he has. And in an offense without a number 2, when you have a field stretcher like McLaurin, it's easy for him to evolve in that role as well. We're on the clock here, Dave.
I like the Jameson Williams kid, that wide receiver. I'm really interested to see where he goes. His skill set is off the charts if he's healthy. I think he's one of the hidden gems of this draft class. So
Okay, I'm fine
Yeah,
taking him.
I was watching him today. I'm going to have an article up on Draft Sharks on him tomorrow. Man, I hate to compare anyone to like Tyreek Hill as far as speed goes, but he is like that caliber. Like he's like fast even for an NFL wide receiver. Like his speed is immediately going to translate. He's coming off the ACL. Obviously, he's potentially not going to be ready for week 1. But I think over the second half of the season, especially in best ball, he's going to be a major asset.
I agree. He's one of the guys I really liked on tape a lot. But yeah, I just have to see how he comes out of that injury.
I'm going to scroll down here, see who we have now on the vets. Let me take a look at the board.
And it's Smola's team. I love Jefferson, Hopkins. I think you got a deal on Hopkins, and Jefferson is one. I could make K-State Jefferson 1 overall this year. So I like what you did in the draft. Kamara, we'll have to see what he does with his arrest, and then you got a lot of best ball guys that are really high upside. Marquise Brown, and then you took Rondale Moore to go with Hopkins. I like that team.
Yeah, definitely rolled the dice on Kamara. I'm willing to do that this time of year in this draft. I think we'll have more clarity by the time we get into draft season in August. But yeah, I'm with you on Jefferson. I think he's as safe as it gets. And then Hopkins, I love getting him in the third. We saw his target share decline a bit this past season, but I think with Christian Kirk gone, and we'll see what else they do. I mean, right now, Antoine Wesley is their other outside wide receiver.
Yep.
I'm sure they're going to add something, but I think Hopkins could get back to his 2020 level of targets this season.
And not only that, Edmonds has gone taking away targets from him too, so people miss that too. So that means DeAndre Hopkins' share is going to go up. So there's no way. By the time the big money drafts come around and the main events, you won't get Hopkins there.
Yep.
All right, we're back on the clock now. The question is, do we want to take our second quarterback or just wait at the position? It will
Who's
start.
there? I don't have it up, Billy. Who's there at wide receiver and running back, left end, tight end?
Wide receiver, we have Van Jefferson, Robbie Anderson, Chenault, Tulio, Palmer, Marvin Jones, Scantling.
Okay. I'm good with fading all those guys. Who's there at
tight end? We have Freiermuth, Noah Fant, Ertz, Cole Kmet, and then it gets deeper from there.
I don't mind the Sheriff Fairmouth, especially with the change at quarterback. They might lean on him more.
Okay, he's I think the highest tight end I ever ranked there.
Okay,
that
gives us a chance to we're not going to get blocked at tight end and quarterback. So
yeah, and then there's not really any running backs I really like anyways. We already have a good core. We don't need anybody else there. And then wide receiver, all these guys are in the same tier for me.
I like it.
Okay. Let me pull back up the board here for everybody.
This is a really interesting scoring format for quarterbacks, especially with the 6-point passing touchdowns that we're playing here for this best ball league. So you have the 6-point passing touchdowns, you have 20 passing yards for a point rather than 25. So this scoring format really elevates the passing quarterbacks a bit, not necessarily ahead of the running quarterbacks, but it devalues the quarterback rushing a little bit.
Yeah, the Lamar Jacksons and the Kyler Murrays aren't as valuable now as somebody like a Burrow even or a Mahomes, of course, but a Burrow in the same tier or a Prescott even.
I'm going to lock up my quarterback too with Trevor Lawrence, who I'm willing to just completely write off last year.
To the Urban era.
Yeah, blame it on Urban. Every other season of Lawrence's career, he's been awesome. Going back to college, obviously, and you can knock some of the additions they've made, but at least they've made some additions, and I think improved his supporting cast. Even if it's not awesome, I think it's going to be better than it was last year.
Well, that's what the thing is. Like, at least they're going out and they're trying their best effort to give him weapons to succeed. Right? Yep, when you see these other teams who don't go out and sign anybody, looking over at the Packers right now, right, and you see what they've done for the supporting cast around their quarterback, and it's nice to see a team do the opposite and to get them weapons, even though they're not the best weapons, to get them something to succeed. So I don't love a lot of the moves they've made, but at least it's in a step to improve their quarterback.
And Lawrence gets ETN this season too, who I think should be big for that passing game.
Yes, exactly.
Sir. And which you got your stack there.
Yes. I'm not super worried about stacking in best ball leagues that are just 12-team leagues. I'll do it as a tiebreaker. Yeah. But if you get into the tournaments, I think that's when it matters. But in just when you're just trying to win a 12-team league, I'm not super concerned about stacking.
It's also March too, right? And all of our stacks could be disrupted in the next
Exactly.
2-3 weeks, a month.
True.
It's like all those stacks that I was building with, Marvin Jones and Trevor Lawrence late in drafts, and who knows, Marvin Jones could be cut, right? We don't
Yep.
know what's going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah, they got an interesting wide receiver room right now, for sure.
Yeah,
I saw they just brought back Treadwell today too. So
Yeah,
they got a lot of bodies there.
Treadwell looked good. I mean, he looked good
He
at
did.
last year. Looked like his top college tape.
Did.
Are you drafting off your rankings right now, Jared?
I am. I got the Draft Sharks MVP board up, which we'll take our projections, apply them to this league scoring format, and then spit out customized rankings. That's what I'm using.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty cool.
So when you do that, you plug in like the two double flex, the 3 wide receivers, and it splits you out of. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, the rankings are based on the scoring system, and then also based on the starting requirements. So that'll help kind of compare values across positions.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Well, perfect. Why don't you tell everyone where to find you, Twitter, your work, and then I'm going to get James up here on the show.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on and drafting with you guys. I'm at Smola DS on Twitter. You can find my work at draftsharks.com. And again, we have our full 2022 projections up on Draft Sharks. If you are doing any of these early best balls, that's a pretty good resource to have.
All right, Jared. Well, thanks for coming on, and look forward to finishing the draft with you.
Take it easy,
Thanks,
Jared.
guys.
Good
Good
talking
luck.
with you, bud.
Yeah,
All right.
you too, Dave. See ya.
All right. Next, we have James Brimacombe coming on. James won the underdog mitten last year. You cannot find yourself in a draft room without him being in there. Welcome, James, to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun format. Trying to beat all these sharks here. It's pretty tough.
That's my first question for you. How do you like the format? I know you don't like defenses, but we haven't had to pick one yet. So
Yeah.
Defenses aside, how do you like the format, and what's your take on where players are falling in their ADPs?
Yeah, it's hard because everything's just jumbled to what I didn't set my rankings ahead of time, so I've been just trying to queue up like 10 guys at a time. But yeah, it's kind of a nice refresher to kind of look at the draft board, kind of see what's out there and see what people are bypassing and what people are jumping on. So yeah, I haven't usually on the underdogs you'll be against 1 or 2 guys that you know what they're gonna do and they're kind of sharp, but here it's all free for all, so it's kind of fun. Nice change.
What's been the biggest surprise for you in terms of positions here at FFWC versus other platforms that you've drafted on?
Definitely just like what everyone's saying is receivers. So after the fact, I feel like probably could have waited on running backs a little bit more. I don't mind my receivers. I got Adams, I got Mike Williams and Devontae Smith and Lazard. So decent 4 core there, and we'll see how it goes at the end here. But I feel like I probably reached a little bit on quarterback, but I wanted some upside quarterbacks. And then tight end, I just locked it down basically.
And walk me through, why did you choose to go 3 quarterbacks?
I actually really wanted Carr, and he got sniped just before me, so I went with Fields. I wanted just Hurts because I already went with Smith and Goddard just for the stack, and then Watson was kind of he just kept falling, and I have a hard time taking Watson sometimes, just all the issues, and maybe there's going to be a suspension still there. So that's probably why I lean 3 quarterbacks, and I love Justin Fields, so I couldn't pass the 3rd quarterback there. So you're safety net.
Yeah, you're hedging on the suspension. That's why you ended up taking 3 instead.
Yeah, and they're all running quarterbacks, so there's a good chance one of them's going to get dinged, miss a couple games. So I always have that in the back of my mind. And we're 24 rounds, and even with the defenses, I think 3 quarterbacks, that's the way to go.
Okay. So what are you thinking in terms of, so tight end, you also took 2 early.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a 2 tight end builder if you get too early, or what's your strategy here? What with taking the early tight ends as well?
Yeah, usually I wait on tight end, so I don't even take tight end to the end, and I just fill it in. But yeah, all the teams now, kind of the last week's been crazy, just people filling in their tight end. So a lot of the later round values are gone.
Yeah.
So, and then I've just seen Waller fall. So I wouldn't have took him if he fell. Yeah, he just fell right to me. And then Goddard, I just kind of had the idea I was going to go with Hurts already when I grabbed him. So I probably won't take another tight end.
And you're coming on the clock, so I'll let you look at the queue. While you're looking at the queue, we'll look at the queue too. We'll kill two birds with one stone. I'm thinking, Dave, that we probably need a second quarterback.
Yeah.
There's still a couple out here that I like. We're getting thin though, but we have Wentz. We could pair with Terry McLaurin.
Yep.
Is Winston still up here?
He's
Jameis
still-
Winston's still there. We could pair with MT. And
Actually like both those guys.
Yeah, and then it kind of falls off from there.
With 6 points per TD pass, if we waited, I don't know if we take 3 or not.
Yeah, I know you and I are typically not 3 quarterback building guys, but
In a confined league, 24 rounds, I don't know. I would take
Yeah.
one of them here, either Winston or Wentz.
okay. And they both came to us. We're up now. I think I lean Carson just because he's healthy now. Winston's still
Okay.
coming off
That's fine.
that ACL.
That's fine.
Okay, let's do that. Not my turn to pick, it says. Oh, wow. Okay.
I think
Oh, he reset it.
changing his pick.
Oh, he put Zach Wilson. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That I was like, I thought it. Okay.
And then the debate will be if we just live with those 2 quarterbacks in this league, and
Yeah, we could take a rookie later too.
yeah.
I think that's probably the play. I think let's take a look at our next pick then while we're looking here. Take a look at some rookies. I like a couple there, but they're going to go later. Do we just lock down another tight end? Gerald Everett in.
Just went to San Diego. Not a bad.
Yeah. Hayden Hurst is in Cincinnati now.
Yeah, I don't mind him either.
Let's see if we have any correlation on our team. We could have a late week stack with Kansas City against the Bengals again. Let's go ahead and lock in the quarterback right now. We'll keep talking on that one.
Okay.
But we could have like a week 17 or 16 correlation between Hurst and Tyreek, but it's not going to sway me one way or the other.
Yeah.
I think we need a receiver. Looking at the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, it feels like a receiver run's coming here.
Yeah, we just saw double tap at the end.
I'll tell you a few names, but I don't know if they'll come back to me.
We have MVS.
He's a good best ball play, and now that Adams is gone, I think they have to sign him. So he knows that offense.
Are we on the board? It's showing me Bradley's name right now for some reason.
Oh, because they took him off again. I can't get his right for some reason.
Okay, so it's for me. It's either MVS or we could gamble on Julio.
I lean MVS because he's going to be the number one receiver there. I think.
Okay. Let's do it.
And it's best ball too, so I really lean more MVS.
Okay, that's in. Perfect. And then we got James back on the clock here in a second.
Yeah, so there's a few names I liked. I like Cedric Wilson and KJ Osborne, Kendrick Bourne, Robbie Anderson. So I think there's still some decent names out there. But then I'm afraid if I don't take running back either.
Yeah, it's going to run here for wide receiver.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, this format where you have to start, the 3 of them have to be on the field every week. Really, 5 of them have to be on the field every week. This form. 4 for sure.
I think this one's a little different than the other format, Dave. There's only one flex spot.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. All right. I didn't
Yeah.
know regular FFWC format. Okay.
Yeah, so we're doing 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, and then 1 defense and special team.
Okay, that makes it a little easier. Okay. Then I think we're fine at receiver.
Yeah, I think that was a good spot right there.
I like the Cedric Wilson pick too.
I was going to go MVS. I was going to pair Lazard and MVS. I think that's kind of a sneaky way to do the Green Bay side. Grab both those guys in the mid rounds.
Right now, the guys that know the offense the best and have the rapport with Rodgers and Cobb's wash. So, yeah, for sure.
So you have your 2 tight ends, you got your quarterbacks, you're starting to fill in your other positions here. Are you feeling behind in any position?
No, I feel very balanced. So now I can just kind of wait to see who's fallen. Maybe take a few shots on guys a few rounds ahead of ADP just because I want them maybe for a stack or whatnot. But yeah, I like the build so far.
I think you got a deal on Chubb, got a deal on Aaron Jones. I'm a Mike Williams homer. I was just commenting on. I wish he went later than that, but he's not going to. Now everybody knows who he is. So, and then Devontae Smith is a home run guy for best ball. I like a lot of things you did with that team.
Oh, thanks, man. I actually, when I went Mike Williams, I felt like I took him around too early, but I wanted Herbert, but then Herbert went early too. So, I'm always trying to think what I want to do with my next pick. So
Sure.
But then you just adjust as you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Especially in a draft where there's this many sharps, it's hard to think that far ahead as they're also trying to think that far ahead, and they're also looking at your build and seeing how they can disrupt it while also completing their build.
Yeah, I actually haven't even had a chance to look at anyone else's team, just what you guys have on stream. So kind of check them as they come on.
Well, awesome. Well, why don't you tell everyone where to find you on Twitter and your work, and let everyone know, plug your details.
Yeah, that's where the best place, probably Twitter. I like to just kind of post stuff, random thoughts. I'm doing some drafts. I'll see something. I'll kind of throw something up there. Or if I put some kind of spreadsheet together, I'll try to share it. This year I'll be football guys. So I just post my rankings there. Things change fast though. So best ball right now, the last week or two has just been chaos. So they're already outdated after a day, it feels like.
Awesome, James. Well, thanks for hopping on the show. We appreciate you drafting with us and sharing your thoughts and walking us through your build. And we'll see you on the streets.
Thanks again, Billy. Nice to meet you, Dave.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Jane. Take care, man.
All right. Next, we have JD, aka the Goat District, co-founder of the Goat District.
How's it going, guys?
Buddy?
What's
Good. How
up,
are you?
Loud and clear.
Oh yeah,
Loud and clear.
Roger Dodger, Mr. Pilot. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, we're actually flying the kids and the family to the ocean tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
That's so awesome. That just sounds awesome.
Yeah, so it's normally like a 4-hour drive. We can get there in like an hour and 10 minutes in the air.
Jesus.
It's only $5 a day to park the plane, which is awesome. And
That's
then
hilarious. Cost me more to park my car in Toronto.
that's what I'm saying. And then you can, from there we can use it as a base point, and flights just fly up and down the coast over the week and kind of take a look at all different views a couple days a week, and then hit the beach up during the afternoon and get the air in the morning.
What's the fuel cost on that little trip right now?
these days?
Well, it's only an hour flight, so we're burning about roughly 9 gallons per hour, which is not horrible,
No.
And you look at it, we're almost $6 a gallon on aviation fuel, so it's comparable to driving. They said spend more driving now. It's also helps me with my hours and staying current and making sure that I put in the amount of hours that we need to be in the air with the family.
Very nice.
Well, first defense goes off the board. We have the Bills over here to Adam. Early for defense. What do you think, boys?
It's early for me.
What's up, Wheeler? Yeah, I'm not an early defense guy. If kickers are involved, Mr. Dan Williamson, who you're having on in a bit from the district, has taught me very well about kickers. He's the connoisseur, the goat of all kicker draft. So I learned a lot from him. If you look at kind of the variance with the two positions, the onesies, the ones that not everybody like in their drafts, the kicker is a little more predictable. You want a good offense, obviously one that's going to score a lot of points, put them in good positions. Defense is just all over the place. I just always remember Jacksonville a few years ago, everybody taking Jacksonville super early. I think they were second last or bottom 3, 4, 5 in defense that season. So I don't jump on defenses. I rather take more, maybe like 3 defenses, and then kickers, I'm more willing to go too early. I'm talking kickers because FFPC has the kickers, but yeah, that's my thoughts on defense.
Okay. Yeah, I'm similar. I like to wait. You can always find a value at the position, I feel like. And, unless people are taking 3, which is a possibility in this draft. But when people are taking 3, then you got to be a little concerned about getting your second. But I will wait as well. Looks like we are coming around the corner. Why don't you walk us through your build as we're coming around the corner here? And Dave and I will start popping up some names.
I'm going to admit, like, that Higbee was an auto pick. One undervalued or undermentioned aspect of drafting best balls is the logistics, right? The screens, what you have in front of you. This is the second draft I do on this site. It's been fun. Billy, you're awesome. You invited me to this one, and it's funny, I had just jumped on to another one. Was that with you as well? I think it was.
Yeah,
right?
we're in the $50 one too.
Yeah, so I'm just getting familiar with the site. So I did get auto picked on the Higbee. So I came back with the Darrell Henderson.
Hold up, sorry. Speaking of auto picks, we're on the board. Hold up.
Yeah, go ahead, guys.
Hold that thought. We want to get our third tight end here, third quarterback here, second tight end, another running back.
I'd take another running back here. What's there?
Let me take a look at rookies real quick. Zamir White's still there.
Zamir White is one of my favorite running backs. Jerome Ford I like a lot. These are all guys that depending on where they go.
Algier. I like Zamir White over Ford.
Like them both. So, but I'm a Zamir White homer, so I'm fine with Zamir White.
Okay, let's go ahead and take White.
You bastards. I considered him there.
Love his tape. Love everything about him.
Yeah, I like him too.
Hidden gem in the draft.
And then I think let me take a look at the board real quick, and then we can just get it queued up so we can get talking again. I think we should probably take our third quarterback.
Okay.
2, yeah. And I think for me, then let me get off of rookies. We got Goff. We had a correlation with
the guy I like format is Davis Mills.
Okay, I'm fine with Mills too. He's one of my most owned quarterbacks.
Okay. Yeah, in this format, I just realized it was 6 points. They changed a lot of things. I'm going off the FFWC regular format. It's 6 points per TD pass, so I like Davis Mills way more than Jared Goff in this format.
Mills is one of my most owned quarterbacks so far, so I have no problem with it.
Yep.
All right. Hope you're holding that thought, JD. Go back to it.
Yeah, no, I was just talking about correlation. Higbee being the auto pick, I came back with Henderson. I love the Zamir White. This is why in when you're drafting with sharps, like the Shark Tank that we're in today, you can't wait on your guy. If I'm looking at FFPC, he was going like in the 19th, 20th round. And here he just went in the 16th or 15th round, which is why I kind of passed on him there. I probably would have taken him ahead of Henderson if I didn't have that correlation. I like Henderson in LA. He shows a lot in both aspects of the game, running and catching the ball. And we all know how powerful that offense can be, especially now adding A-Rob. It's funny. I keep thinking you guys are the last team, the Larky team. And I was like, why are these guys taking a third quarterback? But no, I do like that because you have Lance and Wentz, not necessarily guys you want to depend on if you're going a 2 QB build. I'm comfortable with my QBs. I went Herbert. I like how my picks got questioned on the show earlier. That makes me really proud of my roster. When there's comments on Twitter or it comes up in the discussion. I don't mind taking Herbert in this format. I mean, if you look at Herbert and Mahomes, they're not much different, man. You look at from one year to the next, rookie season to their second year, very similar numbers. Herbert improving in different, all aspects around him, offensive line. You see that 3rd-year growth, so on and so on. So I don't mind taking. I think Herbert and Mahomes are pretty interchangeable in this format. So obviously with the Eckler pick in the 1st round, I definitely like that stack. Just again, Eckler with his catching ability. Diggs for me is just free money at the end of the 2nd, in the back half of the 2nd. It blows my mind that you look at air yards, you look at in this format with 3 receivers. This is the lightest I went receiver. If you look at like my first 10 rounds, I actually prefer taking, less running backs, going heavy receiver early, and then going deep. Oh, we're on the clock, boys, and I have no idea.
Yeah,
so let me go.
No, go for it.
See, this is what's tricky, right? Is you don't have the ADP. I know exactly where I'm going, actually.
Yeah, this is only the 2nd draft so far of the site, so we're essentially creating ADP, right? We're drafting. We're people are going to be placed in the ADP based upon these drafts. Yeah, I like Herbert a lot. I was saying earlier that he was one of my top ranked quarterbacks last year. You got the correlation with Eckler, like you said. So I don't question it. I always like to look at that when I see someone go ahead of a player like that and say, "Oh, what did he do and why did he do that?" Right? And I tried to analyze it myself prior to having you on. So I like the pick. I like Herbert, and you have to think this defense is going to be much improved. It's the only question I have is this defense going to be so much improved where it's going to affect the passing game?
My answer to that is look at the division.
Yeah.
That's my answer to it. Yeah, for sure, defense is a concern. I mean, how good their defense is a concern, but they're going to have to score points in that division. And that's what kind of, for me, again, kind of puts them on. And I totally see Mahomes ahead. And again, I like to mix and match these best balls. I tell myself a different story every time I do one. And that's kind of where I'm at.
So Stats Guru has a question for you. What team is Breece Hall going to land on?
I mean, for me, it doesn't really matter because you figure he's going either back end of the 1st. I don't know I haven't even looked at a mock in a while, so I don't know if he's even predicted to go. Hold on, let me make a quick pick here.
Yeah, end 1, early 2 is kind of the estimated range.
Yeah. So you figure he's either ends up in a good offense where they need a running back. It's getting ugly, eh? It's getting ugly. I'm looking at receivers right now. There's a tight end. Is he still there? No, he's gone. And Njoku's gone?
Yeah, he went in round 15.
Oh, I see one I want. I'll take just for depth. Oh, what's wrong? He's not available? Or not my pick? I'm not on the clock yet?
Yeah,
No,
I apologize. I thought I was on the clock, guys.
No, you're okay. You have 2.
Alex, Dan, and then you.
Okay. Again, still getting used to the there we go. Williamson's gonna pick me off right now. He's when we draft together, for some reason we always end up beside each other. It never fails. No, yeah. See, he did snipe me because he sees I'm building the Denver because I've got Alberto and Judy. But Logan Thomas for me is just value here. I wasn't necessarily taking a 3rd tight end, but I like him. Last year, obviously with the injury, I mean, I'm not a big Wentz guy. You guys have Wentz as your QB too, but you got to think he's going to throw those short passes to Logan Thomas.
Yeah, we shall see. Well, I got to get Larky on here. So thanks for hopping on, JD. Appreciate you coming on, sharing your thoughts, and we'll see you on the streets, buddy.
Thanks for having me, guys. Say hi to Josh for me. Good luck, guys.
Bye-bye. How's it going, Josh? How are you, buddy?
Doing well. How are you guys doing? Excited
Doing well.
See how this ends.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Josh Larky is the analytics director at Roto Underworld and Player Profile. He also has an R coding class. He's a master at R coding. So if you're ever looking to get into that side of the world, make sure you hit up Josh here. So how's your draft going for you so far?
I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of forgot it was. So I play a lot on half PPR platforms where receiver is not as important. And then all of a sudden it was like after 4 rounds, I realized I had no receivers on a PPR platform and was like, we're going to reverse course. But I think I saved the draft. I was like, you know what? We're just going to pound receivers. So what is it like? All but 3 of my last 9-10 picks have been receivers. So I think I redeemed it. we've got a few stacks with Allen, Crowder, Knox, Stafford, Robinson, Van Jefferson. So I think I salvaged it, getting some guys that I consider values based on where they were going. So
and they all have roles, right? Like Crowder now is in who just now signed with Buffalo. You have Myers, who is going to have a significant role in New England. I love Darnell Mooney. So had you not taken him there, I would have been hard for me to pass on him again.
Yeah, you sniped me a couple times, so I was getting you back. Like trying to let me see. Oh, I was so set up to get Tyreek Hill. I was like, my goodness, why does nobody want Tyreek Hill? He's my wide receiver 1 right now. And then of course
we're on
you
the
just
clock.
swoop.
I think Hayden Hurst here for me, Dave, tight end.
I don't mind as our second tight end.
Okay, I'm gonna just lock that then.
All right.
And then now Larky's back to back. We should start asking him a ton of questions real quick.
That's fun. Yeah, let me see.
Let's look at our next pick while he's picking up too, Dave. And then we got a bunch of time to talk with him. Do we want to take a third tight end and be done at the position and then fill it in, or
who are you thinking about?
Hooper signed with Tennessee. He's in here.
Tennessee, such a shit show.
Yeah. But you have to think that AJ Brown's there, and then outside that, Robert Woods is recovering, so he might be at least early in the season on the field a lot more.
They just tend to not play their tight ends every down for whatever reason. I don't know why.
That's a pretty accurate statement.
Yeah, they tend to play tight ends, so I don't know if Hooper will be like on the field every play.
Okay. There's one later that I like too, so we can come back to that position. Wide receiver. Let's take a look. We're pretty good at wide receiver, I think. Let's look at running back.
Like Terrace Marshall. I think he's going to come on, but
I like Terrace Marshall too. But we might need a running back. Let's take a look here. Because remember, there's one less flex.
Yeah.
All right, I got my picks in.
Okay, Dernis Johnson is in here.
Don't mind him. Our boy Evans is going to a new situation.
Right when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Yeah, I think I'd take Dernist over or we could go McKinnon even.
I think they're getting rid of
Hunt. I do too.
And Dearness, they just paid Dearness, so Dearness makes sense. If something happened to Chubb, he's already shown that he can get it done. So I like it.
All right, let's.
I didn't realize he was still on the board. I would have taken him, so I approve of that pick. a lot of the guys are trying to look pretty similar to me, and because I'm at the turn, I thought, you know what, the defenses get some type of points, and I would be surprised if the Niners and Saints don't get me some spike weeks. So I figured we'll just double tap defense, since I generally like to have 3 in this type of format, and I think it's pretty easy on the turn to miss the run. So
yes,
this sort of hit me. I was like, you know what? Are the next 24 guys different from the 24 guys after that? Not necessarily. We'll double tap defense.
Well, and they just adjusted defensive scoring for the best ball entries too. So a shutout now is 8 points. 2 to 6 points allowed is now 4 points, and then a 7 to 10 points allowed is now 2 points. So there are more opportunities to score defense now.
Yep. Because scoring in this regular FFWC format has been kind of has been not as great as the other formats. So defense kind of gets devalued, but since they increased that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it kind of brings the I should say now you have to think about it earlier.
Yeah, kind of from all my research, the onesie positions are pretty important depending on scoring settings. It's kind of why I went quarterback early, is I saw many sites it's 4-point pass touchdowns, 25 yards is a point. Here it's 6-point pass touchdowns, 20 yards is a point. And I thought, I want to invest in stack offenses that I know will be top 10, probably top 5. It's kind of why I went with the Rams and the Bills. Is I'm hoping that each week I'm able to get close to 30 or more fantasy, hopefully like 28 to 32 fantasy points from either Allen or Stafford. Pretty much whoever has the 3 touchdown week should get close to that. Same with the tight end, where I was like, all right, tight end, let's lock up that onesie position early, where I feel like Knox can hop in my flex on occasion, since it's going to be hard to get a receiver in flex with my build. Honestly, same with running back. I played it pretty thin at running back. I was like Mixon and Cook. We're good. Cross my fingers. They each play 12 to 14 games. So
Yeah, that's the thing. When you go early quarterback and early tight end, something has to give, right? You can't be well-rounded at every position. You're going to have some sort of hole when you're running this deep inside of a format. So if like your team, when you are strong at quarterback and at tight end, you're going to suffer at, running back and wide receiver. I do feel like you made up for it, though. Like you said earlier, at the wide receiver position. I love some of the picks you did. They have some high upside plays, like Callaway has shown some spark down, in games, and you have Jefferson now, who seems to be every week. They kept thinking, oh man, it's not going to be a Van Jefferson season. It's not going to be a Van Jefferson season, and then they trade away Woods, and so I think that he has a much more clear path to success this year. And I am very high on Van Jefferson, especially where you got him in this format.
I kind of think about Van Jefferson like Gabe Davis last year, where it's sort of the handcuff receiver, one of the rare ones where you can get the occasional touchdown out of him, but really you're kind of crossing your fingers that he'll help win you your league if there's an injury. And that's kind of what Gabe Davis was last year. I don't think the Bills offense last year was projected to be any better than the Rams this year, but Gabe Davis would go in the 130s. And I feel like there's this discount on Van Jefferson, even after they got rid of Woods. OBJ won't start the season healthy. So it looks like he should be their wide receiver 3, at least initially. And I kind of liked that idea. So yeah, I was just taking some guys that I thought were falling a little too much, like Van Jefferson, and then kind of pouncing on someone like a Crowder, where Beasley's pretty much lived up to ADP in the 110 area the last couple of years. I think James Crowder might be better. He's younger. He's posted really well with a lot of advanced metrics that we've been tracking. Like his win rate per route is always among the top couple in the NFL at slot. So we'll see what happens. I think
health
probably
is only his only
11
factor with his size, right? And that's always been his MO. But when he is on the field, he's produced.
Yeah, at PPR, I think he's worth the shot there. If it's half, probably not. But pretty fast-paced offense. I think I'm going to end up with either 5 running backs and 12 receivers, or 6 running backs and 11 receivers. I haven't quite figured that out, but going 3 defense, I don't think I'm going to take another quarterback or tight end. Just even if somebody slips, it's hard for me to see how many additional points that guy's adding. So yeah, I generally play it
when you have
thin.
those studs at the top. There's no need.
Yeah, I kind of try and treat it, just play it really, really thin at a couple positions where if those quarterbacks and tight ends do well, then I have a really good chance at winning. If they don't do well, I'm not going to win. So that's kind of a strategy that I've developed from how people play tournaments with this type of stuff, because I'm mainly a best ball tournament player. So I've always been like, what's the fewest number of things to get right possible for this team to do well? So I think that's kind of the advantage with going fragile. You guys have done it kind of too at quarterback, where you're like, we're just playing quarterback and tight end, very fragile. And that if we hit on a late round quarterback or a late round tight end, that's kind of what's needed. And that you don't need too much else. Like, running back and receiver are going to be solid. So I think you guys had a pretty solid draft so far.
Well, thank you. And thanks for hopping on. I'm going to get Bradley in here now, Larky, but it was nice to have you on. Always nice to chat with you. Why don't you tell the people where to find your stuff and where to find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at jlarkytweets, and you can find all my work on playerprofiler.com. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Josh.
Thanks, Josh. Take care, buddy. All right. Next one on is going to be Bradley Stalder.
Right.
And a familiar face.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Brad.
Bradley, walk me through your draft here, buddy.
Well, I will. I'm here up in a second. But I think my draft speaks for itself. I started anchor running back, then went Kelsey, and then like 5 or 6 straight wide receivers because, it's start 3 wide receivers and the flex, and we don't know bye weeks. And I felt like all of those wide receivers offered significant PPR upside, or were undervalued. Like I know I got some love for the Tyler Lockett pick. I think he's extremely undervalued. Looking at Lockett's last 17 games, there are only 4 wide receivers who have a higher 67th percentile outcome per week than Tyler Lockett. That would be Debo, Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp. So to get Tyler Lockett that late, regardless of who the quarterback is, like even when Geno Smith was quarterbacking, it was there was a wide receiver 5 week that Tyler Lockett had. So I'm not worried about the Seattle quarterback situation, even though it's ambiguous right now.
Yeah, you got to think the target share distribution is going to be pretty easy to predict between week to week basis between DK and Lockett himself. And of course, they're going to have the running game, but I think it's going to be a little easier to predict every week now with just those two primarily.
Well, and Adam Thielen, getting him at wide receiver 41, holy buckets. This was the wide receiver 13 fantasy points per game last year. Like, everyone thought that Thielen, I guess, fallen off the face of the planet. Like, he showed no signs of slowing down. So coming off the ankle injury, should be fully healthy. I love those. And I felt like maybe
1 second. We're on the clock, Dave. Do we want to go? Larky already has 2 defenses, so I'm going to take a look. I think we need a 3rd tight end. Ricky Seals is down here.
I like Ricky Seals in his situation where he moved to. So,
okay, you want to lock that in, then take a defense on the way back, or we could take Terrace Marshall on the way back and say,
I like it.
Oh, all right, let's do that. We'll do Terrace Marshall on the way back.
I like it.
Okay.
I'd hate for him to do what he's supposed to do, blow up. We have DJ Moore, good correlation.
Yep, it'll give us a, and then from there we can hit defense and see what's left and grab it.
I was kind of pissed at Smola, though. He sniped me on Russell Wilson. And then he sniped me on Trevor Lawrence. So, no, I did not intend to go this late on quarterback. It's just that Smola's algorithm draft shark thing messed with me. So,
he got a pretty good value on Wilson there. I've been seeing Wilson go ahead of Brady in a lot of drafts, ahead of Dak Prescott in a lot of drafts. I mean, he's been climbing up board since he's been traded to Denver. So I thought it was a pretty good value on his part there.
Mola's a sharp dude because James Washington is another guy I'm very interested in this year, and I think he got real good value on him.
Yeah, with the Dallas signing.
Yep.
All right, I grabbed us Terrace Marshall.
All right.
We're good there. We got our boy. Bradley, so let's take a look here. I like the Will Fuller pick there too, especially if he signs with his boy over in Cleveland.
As long as Will Fuller plays, he's going to be good. Like, I don't care if he signs with the Browns, the Packers. He could sign with the New York Jets for all I care, and he'd still be a back-end wide receiver too.
Yeah, he's going to break his other pinky and be out for 16 weeks again too. So
stop it.
Look at Dan just said nobody takes RSJ ever. He was my final round special. He's been a pretty consistent like round 19-20 pick for me in best ball drafts with his signing.
Yeah, now that he's signed there, he's even, to me, he makes a lot of sense.
Well, yeah, especially like you look at like this offense, like Ingram's gone now, Sterling Shepard's coming off that's late injury. Everyone else was injured at one point on this team, so he could step into a significant workload at some point in the season. And if not, they have shown, this offense in general has shown that they go to the tight end. And so Seals has flashed in the times that Logan Thomas was injured. So I really liked the signing when I saw it, and I've been taking him in drafts late since.
Yep, makes sense. Same with Hayden Hurst.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, absolutely on Hayden Hurst.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are a candidate, though, to draft one of the tight ends. But even so, we've not really – I don't think there's a tight end in this class that would step up like Kyle Pitts or Pat Freiermuth. There's just – they don't have that level of talent looking through their player profiles. It's just not a super impressive tight end class. And I think that's one of the things that's been depressive about these rookies is like there's not a lot of upside with the quarterbacks. Maybe Malik Willis, is one of those considerations. But other than that, not really impressed with the quarterbacks. We got Small Hand Pickett. But the running backs, like, sure, take some late stabs at some. Inevitably, some of them hit. But, the wide receivers I think is the only fantasy relevant position that we can be targeting with a little more confidence.
I agree.
So we're nearing. We have no Cervino on next. Cervino's actually under the weather. He messaged me before we got on. He's actually like, poor guy. Like he's not doing well at all. He's going to be, he said, going to be heading over to the doctor in the morning. But he's drafting from bed, so that shows you the dedication that Cervino has tonight. With the boys, he's got, he's probably got a pillow. He's like laying on his pillow, and every time he's on the clock, he probably gets a beep, and he opens his eyes and drafts. So I got to say thank you, Anthony, for sticking it out and drafting with us. But as we near this turn, let's get everybody on, and we can just kind of talk football with everybody. See if everyone's ready. Is everybody ready to come on? Give me a nod. Yeah. All right, let's do this. Let's get everybody on here.
No love for me.
Did I miss anybody?
Me?
No, we're good. We got everybody on here.
No, you missed me.
Yeah,
oh,
Dan.
I did. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. One second. I'm sorry, everybody.
I see how it goes. You take
Oh
my
my
players.
God, Dan, I'm sorry.
You take all my players. You take.
Oh my God. I did miss you. Yep. Oh my God. My mistake. I skipped over Anthony, I thought. Okay.
Oh,
we
man.
did take your player.
You did.
Were you hoping to get him here in the round 20?
No, I was actually hoping to get him later than that, even. Because I mean, seriously, I've almost never seen him go in any draft, so nobody's on him.
Yeah, he's been pretty much free in every single format, and I think we're starting. I'm still not seeing him go really anything earlier than around 20 in most drafts. I just figured with the room of sharks, we had to take a stab on him.
Yeah, that was probably the smart way to go for sure.
Especially when our number 2 is Hayden Hurst, and I like the landing spot, but
Right.
it's nothing to be jumping up and down for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all right. I'm used to dumpster diving at tight end anyway. So, we're just starting to get down to the slime at the bottom of the dumpster here. So,
which is where the good stuff is,
yeah,
right?
that's where all the good stuff is, man. It's all the
like it's like the sediment at the bottom of your wine, right? That's what you can chew on.
Yes, exactly.
So walk us through your build. You went double quarterback pretty early. So Kyler Murray and Tom Brady. Why did you choose to go double quarterback?
It just looked like good value there. I knew Brady was probably falling off just because he was way down on the list. So I got Murray, and I figured, if Brady's there, when it comes back around to me, I'm just going to grab him. I can be done at quarterback. I felt like we're at a pretty flat spot in the draft for other positions, so I wasn't feeling like I was giving up a ton of value there. And just get it out of the way early. And then tight end, like I say, I'm pretty comfortable going late with, so I was the last person to grab a tight end, and I might be the last person to grab a tight end 3 too. I don't know.
I like the Russell Gage pick that you have a stack with Brady. What's your expectations with him now that he's in Tampa Bay?
I mean, I'm not expecting him to be Antonio Brown, but I think he's. We've got Godwin, who might not even start the season. So,
yep.
I've got pretty strong expectations in that way. But, I think once everybody settles in, I'll be a lot happier to have him in best ball in a managed league. And so, and the thing is, if anybody does get hurt, I mean, Gage is going to pick up that slack. So, I don't mind grabbing players like that. And especially when Brady kind of went out and recruited him a little bit too, that says something as well. Yep. And then I grabbed the Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler stack for Denver. I like stacking a couple wide receivers late from the same team, because a lot of times you can, between the two of them, they'll sort of fill in value for each other. And the same thing I did with Corey Davis and Braxton Berrios. And
so people don't realize just how good Patrick is, right?
Right.
You look at his. I'm trying to find the statistic. I think he's like top 10 in target separation. I'm trying to find it right now. Now I just should have had it pulled up as I was saying it, but here it is: target separation. So, wide receiver 14, 1.82 yards. So, it's just very undervalued. He always seems to produce. He always seems to be relevant in the season, regardless of where he's being drafted or what what type of scenario he's in. Now that he has a quarterback, like I think that he could really outproduce that ADP this year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I thought it was kind of interesting. I think it was your buddy Brad that was pointing out that Russell Wilson was mentioning Tim Patrick first every time he was talking about his receivers right after his opening press conference. I don't know how much that means, but it's a nice little narrative that just makes me say, yeah, why not? Especially at that point of the draft. And I'd have been going completely off my personality if I didn't take Chris Carson after talking about him for 2 weeks straight on Twitter. So, but I did want Zamir White there. Damn it. I thought he might make it back, but I should have known Dave would be on him.
I like the Barrios pick a lot. I got him in a few FFPC drafts a little later, but I like that pick a lot where he went in this format.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's a real value at that point, because he does do so many things. I mean, they can use him, they'll use him on jet sweeps. They'll use him to throw the ball, so he's just a gadget player, and they're going to design a few plays for him every week.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're coming up around here real quick. We got one more pick before us, but we're going to need a defense.
Yep. This is a defensive heavy draft.
Yeah. We're getting towards the tail end. Talk about the bottom of the barrel. We're already getting there. Although I do like one that's in here. We're on the clock now, so we can say it. I like the Raiders here.
Okay. I like the Raiders. I like their pass rush.
Especially exactly after what they just did. So I think that's a good option here. You want to double tap it on the way back?
Probably I would just take 2 and be done with it.
Yeah, I think so
take
too.
The Raiders, and then it's debatable.
Falcons were better than people thought last year.
For sure. Their offense is so bad that they're always going to be behind in games, I think. And game script's not going to favor them many weeks. Seattle has some playmakers on their defense.
Yeah.
The Lions have a sneaky good defense with a defensive-minded coach. And they could play. They play close games. They play for that coach. So
I was going to say last year they actually stepped up and had some pretty damn good games too.
Yep. So I don't mind taking the Lions and the Raiders and roll with that.
Okay, I'm fine with that too. All right, we'll just set that on auto.
I like defensive-minded coaches.
Auto next. So we're going to turn auto next pick on so we can keep talking.
How was the vacation, Dan? Those pictures looked awesome, man. I missed the Caribbean. I ain't been in so long.
Oh, man. It was fantastic.
Look good. Yeah.
Yeah.
When do we get the keys?
Still got to put a bid in on that place, but yeah, it's looking pretty likely. So
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's hope. That'd be nice, and potential for a long-term renter in there until we're ready to jump in ourselves. So
next thing you know, you're going to be drafting from the beach.
I hope so. I might have to get a VPN or something so I can sign up for drafts out there. I don't know.
I drafted from a room with no problem a couple times, main events.
Did you? Yeah, I think you can draft from there. I don't know if you can sign up from there or not.
Oh,
like entering drafts, I think might be the problem, but
I don't know
we'll
that
see.
either.
Well, you're just the hop, skip, jumping away from Florida, right? You can just
yeah,
you can just
3-hour flight.
head on over and just mass enter and then fly back.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna make it like a 2-day trip out of just entering drafts.
Yeah. Well, I'll just get Dave to be my partner and just have him enter drafts for me.
Oh, anytime, brother. I'm here.
Sounds good. Yeah, for sure.
So Michael Pittman, I was high on Pittman last year. How do you like the signing here, or not signing, but the trade, I should say, with Matt Ryan heading over to Indy?
I mean, I think Ryan's going to suit him pretty well. We've seen Matt Ryan really support some receivers before. Last year wasn't his greatest year, so there's some concern that his tank might be running out of gas, but I'll take a shot at Pittman there. I did think about Brandon Cooks. I did think a little bit about Amari Cooper, but Cooks was probably who I would have gone with if I didn't take Pittman there.
Awesome. No, I love the Pittman pick. I owned so much of him last year that I'm probably going to own a lot of them again.
I think that's about where he belongs this year. I
think so too.
It's tough to see him finishing much worse than that.
Exactly.
And I do think that, no matter what with Ryan, he's going to be a step up from Wentz as far as getting the ball.
Yeah, way better way wide receiver friendly quarterback than Wentz.
Right. Yeah, and I was biting my nails hoping that Treylon Burks would make it back to me in the 8th. So that was the one pick where I was like, if I can get him back, that would be fantastic. Of course, Drake London was right there, so I did have a backup, but I like Burks a lot better than London.
Yeah, I like a lot of these wide receivers. I just got to see where they go and if situation suits them or not.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Gerald Everett, you got to like that signing with with him landing in the Chargers. That's your tight end 2, and I'm very comfortable with Everett as my tight end 2, especially in that offense.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. I mean, he is kind of, he's not going to get to 100 targets, but if he can make it up to 80, 85 targets, I think he'll do just fine.
I mean, Herbert's shown you in his career he likes the tight end, so
yeah, it could happen. That's for sure.
And you got to follow the money too. Like when a team pays, at the position like that, rather than just going after, another unsigned free agent, where it may be, right? You got to follow the money and say they plan on utilizing this player.
Right, exactly. I think that for sure. I just worry a little bit because I know he's going to be behind Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and probably Austin Eckler for targets as well. So, but again, that's a team that throws a lot, so it's not the worst deal in the world.
Yeah, I do have them pegged to draft a tight end. I just don't know how early now after signing Everett because they still have Parham, and Parham flashed at times last year, and I know he had that scary concussion, which is definitely something to look out for. But I do really like the signing with Everett. I think it's a great fit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
All right. We're gonna take a guy that Brian Dable brought over with him eventually here.
All right, let's see it. There it is.
Yep.
Up, Lindsay.
Man, Miami's got so many. Those guys, they're something. Running backs in there.
Right.
It's the Patriot juniors over there now with the running back situation.
Yeah. But I mean, he kind of fits what they want to do. I mean, he's a one cut and go guy.
For sure.
So who knows? At this point, we're all taking our chances.
All right, now let's bring everyone on. I didn't miss anybody. No. Okay. Now let's do it. All right, let's get everybody here in the show. Turn these off 1 second. That's not going to work. And everybody is in here. All right, boys. Well, we're in the final rounds. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Let's do this. That's better. Well, once we're down here, what do you guys think? What's the biggest surprise of the draft, everybody, now that we're down to the final turns? Like the pick that made you say, ooh, what did he do?
Man, I don't know that I saw one. I mean, this is a tough room.
It was a tough room.
Adam not being here is not the biggest surprise of the draft.
I think the one for me was the Herbert pick, and I like it. I'm not saying anything against it, but it had me look and say, why did he do that? And looking at his team, like it made sense with Eckler, right? But I always like to see people go against the grain and go against ADP, and so I really liked the pick. I liked the fact that he, made his mind up and went for it. So JD, I liked the Herbert pick, and it was for me the moment that made me say, "Ooh, why did he do that?" Right?
I think it was for me it was the Waddle pick, which I'm extremely high on Waddle. I've been reaching on Waddle, but it was interesting to see him go ahead of Samuel and Diggs. I mean, I love Mike's conviction on that pick, and I think it's fine to take him there, but it's just showing that he's rising up and up.
Yeah, Cervino's pretty high on Waddle.
I think James Conner, 4th round, got me like, I need to move him up a little. Every time I see James Conner on the board, it's like he needs to be around 2 rounds higher than what he is. So I like like I don't know what team did that, but I like being
Smola.
aggressive there. Yeah. I like
Yeah,
the
I mean,
aggressive.
we saw him for what 4 or 5 games last year without Chase Edmonds, and he was awesome. We'll see what else Arizona adds to the backfield. I'm guessing they're going to add something because right now it's Benjamin and Jonathan Ward behind James Conner. But I mean, if Conner can get 80% of the work he was getting without Edmonds last season, I think he can finish as a top 12 back this season.
Yeah, you can see it, especially with the touchdown upside he's had.
Yep.
That's why I like doing these. I take a look at what other sharp minds are doing and tweak my own rankings and say, did I miss something when I was doing my projections? Did I miss something when I was making my tiers? And it helps you identify any gaps in your own rankings as well.
Yeah. My favorite pick of the draft was Hopkins. I think that's ridiculous where he's going last year in the 20K. Now you're getting him in the late third. I think there's huge amounts of upside with that pick.
Damn you, Smola, with your good picks.
on my Cardinals. Let's just hope Kyler's still there. I'll need that.
All right, final couple rounds here.
I also think it's interesting. I know a lot of us play tight end premium, but how TJ Hawkinson is clearly like below the pack, where last year you might have thought that he's, going to jump up into that elite tier. And now there's just a lot of people who are, kind of off of him. I think there's a chance that, he's going right next to Schultz as the summer moves along, depending on what they do with receiver in the draft as well.
I was really surprised to see Goddard and Knox go before Schultz and Hawkinson, to be honest. I mean, I guess not too much before Hawkinson, but definitely Schultz I would have taken before either of those. But that's maybe just me.
I think Josh wanted that Knox Allen correlation right there.
Yeah,
Would be
for
my
sure.
guess. Yeah.
I get why he did it. I just
We're on the clock, Dave. They almost got us.
That has been happening a lot with Hawkinson, it seems, recently. For some reason, I'm not sure it has anything to do with DJ Chark, but
I take a stab on Antonio Brown.
All right, I'm fine with it.
it's got a little soft on Hawkinson for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Pull up the rookie running backs.
I had Brown queued up, by the way. I think it's a great pick.
Strong still in here?
You're taking Josh Gordon next.
Oh, he
after
just went.
Antonio Brown.
You just grabbed him. Oh my god!
Come on, settle down.
Kyron Williams is going to get outran by defensive ends.
Okay, they cleaned them all up. Really?
Yeah, they're gone. Let's go. Let's check the wide receivers real quick. That's all cleaned up too. How about quarterbacks?
We don't. I don't think we want to take 4 quarterbacks, do we?
Oh, we have 3 already. That's right. Thank you.
Take 3.
Let's just look at regular running backs. Darrell Williams, Mike Davis, Ty Johnson, Marlon Mack, Booker. Oh, our boys are there. I think we got to do it.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Let's do it. That's just tradition now.
Yeah.
That's just on brand. That's on brand.
It's going to be like the year 2040, and we're going to still be selecting them. This is our 2022 Rashad Penny right now. There it is, Darrington Evans.
There he is.
Yep, and Mike just took my tight end. I thought I was going to be able to get Jonnu Smith in the last round there.
I mean, they're paying him, and they have no one good, right? So,
yeah, I'm back to the drawing board again.
You have time. You're young.
Yeah.
Well, guys, how do you like the format? How do you like the draft room?
I like both.
I like the format a lot. I thought it was I like the 24 round, no kicker, and wide receiver heavy. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a different way to approach drafts, and I really like it because it's, it makes you focus the wide receivers, which is, a lot of people in a lot of the formats just go heavy running back, or heavy tight end if it's tight end premium, and it kind of balances things out more. I think you get a little bit more opportunity to get creative with your builds and go any which way you choose, especially now with the 6-point passing touchdowns, which is a huge difference in my opinion. All right, Cervino's on his last pick here, and then he's probably going to fall right asleep. And then Pat, what are you going to do here, JD? Is JD in here? No, he's not. Okay.
Yeah,
He is maybe. He's in the
I kind of
back,
think they
maybe.
need to make these best ball drafts like 30 rounds and just split them up into 2 days. Do like for 15 rounds.
JD is waiting in the back.
Not a bad idea.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
Hey guys, just sitting here waiting patiently,
Welcome back.
listening.
with all
to
these names in here, you actually have to scroll down now in the
Oh,
waiting room.
trust me, I was surprised that anyone even noticed. I know I've managed one of these.
and
before.
you are up, JD.
Oh, am I? Shit. Did you just snipe me, Dan? I'll just
No,
go.
no, I
I'll
can't.
just go with the safe. Keep the stack going with the Chargers. Jalen Guyton. No.
I don't know why it's surprising. Like Chua Hubbard's not. I don't know. He usually
he
gets
sucks.
drafted. Yeah, and they signed Foreman as
Foreman.
well.
I like the Moai Cox there. See, Dan does know bottom of the barrel picks. That's a good pick though. He gets some-
Especially at tight end, he loves
he gets
that.
those. He gets those tight. He gets those streaky, like those streaky touchdowns. Like it's just they'll just pop off on some of them, and so I think it's a great third tight end pick.
I'm between another tight end or a third quarterback. I think I'm taking Jalen Weidermeyer. All right, I'm taking him.
Go on the rookie.
Theo
tight
loves
end.
his rookie.
I like my double tap on the rookie tight end. So I'm a big McBride guy.
Texas A&M.
Yep.
I've seen you take McBride in almost every draft I've been in with you.
I love McBride. I'm hoping for a good landing spot.
Yeah, nice snag by Adam too, taking Boston Scott with the second to last pick, the penultimate pick.
So what are you guys
All right.
doing tomorrow?
We're drafting. What are you doing? No.
Yeah.
Actually, the deep end is tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm flying the family over to the coast. We're going to spend a couple days at the ocean.
That's
So
That's
awesome.
right.
That'll be
That's
fun.
right. It's awesome.
I'm going to unplug for a couple days.
Nice.
I'm feeding cows, so
Well, let's do a quick run through. I'm going to have everyone. You cannot pick your own team. I always like to do this, but I'm going to start with JD down there at the end. I'm going to go the order of the screen reverse. So give you a couple minutes to look through the squads. Tell me which is your favorite team and why, and what they did that you liked about the draft. Can't pick your own team. I'm looking at Adam, even though he's
Billy,
not
you
here.
got to add Larky from the waiting room.
Oh, he's back. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, there he is. You can't leave. You can leave me out there, but don't leave Larky out there. I'm actually gonna like this. This is tough because, I didn't think I was going first.
Put you on the
But
spot.
if I'm taking a quick glance, just looking roster build, what I like to normally do, I do like how Larky recouped, like he said, with his with the receivers, and I like his build. It's nice and tight, nice and clean. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Larky, who's your
don't hate
favorite?
I don't hate what Williamson did either, Dan, with his build.
Larky, how about you? Who's your favorite team?
I mean, I don't like saying this. It might be your team. There were a lot of times where I felt like you sniped me. I like the overall setup where very heavy on running back and receiver, but still getting enough quantity at the onesies for the most part. I think you needed a third defense. It would have been obviously you guys. The defense makes me a little worried, but I'm still putting my faith in your skill player. So I just think the build was very well balanced at running back and receiver, and then I really like Lance at QB12. I think that's just his 3 QB builds often look good because of he's got kind of that weird range of outcomes with the pretty high end, like QB1 overall finish out there. So I'll give you guys the narrow edge.
Ooh, I'll take it. Thanks, Larky. Mike, how about you?
Easy. Bradley. So he figured out the Steeler stack if you care about that, which I did, and maybe I'll ask my listeners tomorrow and they'll all hate me for doing that twice. But I also like the value of the Seahawk receivers. One of them, Lockett, could get moved. And I don't see Mike Strachan on that team, but otherwise I think it's great.
Thank you.
All right, James, how about you?
I mean, I liked Jared's team right beside me. Picked a bunch of guys that sniped from me. A lot of every time I'd make a pick, then he'd pick the second guy in my queue every time. It felt like, so I kind of liked his, kind of thinking the same way. Josh's team also. We're in a lot of drafts together, so it's always fun to see kind of how he builds his team. So those are the familiar kind of the rosters that I probably closer to my heart, maybe.
Okay, Theo?
I think this is a tough one. I like a few builds here, but I'm going to go with Jared as well. I love where he got Jefferson. I thought that was a great pick. I love how he has the Cardinals stack. And I like what he did at the tight end position, where he got Hunter Henry after getting Gronk, and then Njoku has a little bit of upside there. And then I like what he did with the DPJ pick and a couple of his later wide receiver picks. I think his team has upside and the structure looks good.
Okay. Bradley?
This is not fair because Jared, you're 3 in a row, I guess, because and I think it's also because we're next to each other, and there were definitely players in my queue, and in particular Russell Wilson and Trevor Lawrence that I wanted at quarterback, and you took them, and I had to pivot a little bit. But I really did like, as Theo mentioned, some of the late picks, the Browns picks in particular, of DPJ and Njoku, but also Curtis Samuel. I think that's an undervalued player who had a lost season last year and is a 20% target share player now with a capable quarterback. So I think that at wide receiver 59, he has a good chance of returning value there.
All right. Well, now the streak ends because he can't pick his team, Jared.
Yeah, the prettiest looking teams never win. So I don't think I'm going to do much here, despite you guys lauding my team. But I hate to say Adam, but I actually like Adam's team here. I think McCaffrey, if he stays healthy, he's the best player in fantasy football. I think CeeDee Lamb and Mike Evans are both values of where he got them, wide receiver 10 and wide receiver 12. I think both guys are in for more volume this season with Amari Cooper gone from Dallas, with Antonio Brown gone from Tampa Bay. We'll see if Fournette returns. We'll see if Gronkowski returns. I think Evans is going to see a target boost this season. And then Adam was able to get that Cowboy stack with Dak Prescott in the 8th, Dalton Schultz in the 9th to go along with CeeDee Lamb. Then I love his Cordero Patterson pick, RB37. I mean, we'll see what else they add to the backfield. But, man, right now it's Pitts and Patterson and not much else there. So I think Patterson's going to see a whole boatload of targets again this season.
Okay, Dan?
Well, I hate to go back to the well, but I really like Jared's team. I just thought he had a lot of good value all the way down it. And the team's well constructed. I mean, I think everybody did a really nice job. As I'm looking through everyone's team, I can kind of see the thought process that they were going through with it. So, all these builds make sense, but I think Jared did a really nice job grabbing value all the way down.
What about you, Dave?
I like two teams the best. I like what Theo did in the 1-0 with, I think he got a deal on Amari Cooper, Cooks. I like Tony a lot upside, and I like Taylor and Gibson at the top of his. If Washington will let Gibson get the touches he needs, that's always a qualifier. And then I like Jared's team, Justin Jefferson. You're going to see me take him at the 101 in the main events this year in some drafts. Hopkins was ridiculous steal, I think, and then Connor, and then ETN. I've always loved just to see if he can come back. And then I think he did a real good job of taking, in best ball format, high upside receivers that are going to have spike weeks. So those are the two teams that stand out to me.
I like your team, Dave. It's a pretty good build. No, I'm just kidding. I also like Smola's team, but I also really like Theo's. I think something I noticed, like I think Dan just said it too, and I was thinking it also was, you look at just the construction across the room, and when you're in a lot of random drafts against people either not in the industry or just your average drafter, there's always seems to be the one rake, right? Or there's a couple people out there who just are not constructing a roster well that's going to put them at a disadvantage inside the season. And, and I would not expect that in this room, but it just shows you how good of drafters everybody is in this room, because every team is well constructed. I do also like Smola's team. At first, I was a little concerned with how running back heavy it was, but I liked how he cleaned up with some of the later picks. Like, I love Wan'Dale Robinson. I did a post on him couple weeks ago. James Washington now inside Dallas is going to have a significant role with Wilson gone and with Gallup nursing that injury and coming back. I mean, Peoples-Jones now, once they get Watson at quarterback, is going to have a pretty good sized role there as well. So I think for missing the position early, he cleaned up nicely. And then like the pick that I looked at and I was like, wow, I haven't thought about adding that in drafts yet, was Boone. Right. And I really liked the pick because as it stands right now, he's probably the running back 2 on this team behind Javonte Williams, and you got him for free. So that's something I look at and say I've missed in my rankings or I've missed in my projections. And I think I have to go back and look at that on the drawing board. So I really like that pick and the team overall. Well, that's it, boys. I want to thank everybody for coming on. 2-hour long draft. So I appreciate your time and your energy. Always nice to pick your brains, to look at your rosters, your construction, and to talk football with you. Look forward to drafting against you as the season progresses. And I want to say thank you for joining.
Thanks, Bill.
Yep. Thanks for having us, Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks for having us, man. Yeah, thanks for organizing it.
And then before we end, I do have an announcement, and it's going to be official on Twitter tomorrow, but I am going to be joining full-time as a full-time analyst. So we're going to be doing a lot more shows over here at full-time, hoping to have a lot of you guys on more as we get into draft season more as well, and pick your brains and have you on the show. And so expect the announcement tomorrow, but I wanted to make it first here on the show with everybody live. And thank you all for coming on.
Congrats. Awesome. Congrats,
Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
Congrats, Billy.
Have a good night, boys.
Oh, you're going to tell us you're pregnant.
See you guys.
Oh, it's obvious.